Good morning, football fans, and welcome back to episode 3, if you will, or day number 3 of 3 and Out 8 Divisional Games AFC Week as we talk about the AFC South. That's right, y'all. We have gotten to the AFC West, to the AFC East, and today we are on to the AFC South. Man, it's been a fun couple of days, right? I'm glad you guys have been aboard. Glad you guys have been here enjoying the show. Definitely excited to be back on StreamYard, of course, for our first time here for this show, 3 and Out, 8 Divisional Games. Super excited and just grateful and thankful and very blessed for all of you for tuning in. So, what do we got in store today? Well, we will be starting our journey around the AFC South with none other than the Houston Texans. We're going to be talking to our brand new Houston host of Spaced Out Sports, Trevor Hours. We'll be talking to him all about the Texans and why he is so optimistic to be a Texans fan. I think all Texans fans should be optimistic right now, right? Of course, after that, we'll be heading on, as I say, on I-10, heading east to the 2 Bowl. Of course, we go check out them Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll be talking to our very own Corey Bull here of iSports Radio. Of course, we'll be headed north. Checking with an oldie but a goodie. Justin Law, remember that name from iSports Radio a couple of years ago. The former host of High Octane Entertainment, which of course was Indianapolis or Indiana Sports Show. We'll be dropping by to talk about the results, and we'll finish off our journey out in Tennessee as we talk to our very own Davidson Cook of Fast Break here on iSports Radio. He, of course, talks basketball with the various blocks on Sundays during basketball season. But this week, he talks about his beloved Tennessee Titans. Oh, we're going to have some fun today. Definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's get it. You are now tuning in live to 3 and Out 8 Days AFC Week. AFC South Day right here on iSports Radio. Yours refuge for all that is sports. Welcome, football fans. Well, here we go, guys. Day number 3. Man, I'm excited we made it. Day number 3. Some of these get so stressful, so tiring, but let me tell you right now, it is so much fun doing this. 16 teams we are covering this week. We are halfway through. We got through 8 so far on Monday and Tuesday. Of course, big shout out to where's she at? Blue. She switched sides on me today. Blue, she's taking a nap over here to my left, and she's enjoying the show, or probably hoping that I'd quiet down. But good morning to all of you out there once again for our 3rd morning in a row. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Much appreciated. Whether you guys are on your way to work in the morning, getting up right now, at work, depending, on where you are in the country, what time it is, definitely thank you so much for tuning in. Could not appreciate you more, and so happy you could make a little time out of your day for this gigantic long show. Yep, every one of these have gone over 3 hours, as we kind of thought, right? But it's been so much fun, and I have been so happy to be able to have delivered those first 2 days really well. So these next 2 days are going to be a lot of fun. Today, of course, we're finishing off. Well, not finishing off, but we are on day 3, talking about the AFC South. And tomorrow we'll be finishing off AFC Week with the AFC North. That's going to be a fun one. Of course, got plenty more hosts from our shows here at iSports Radio. And without a doubt, you're going to want to tune in. So, okay, today, man, the Titans. We're starting off. By the way, big ups and thanks to everybody in the chat. Our boy, Taryn Rodriguez. Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Gridiron, Mr. Yukio. It's, my gosh, like I said, I think it's 11 o'clock in Japan right now. So tonight already, it's almost Wednesday. So good day to you, sir, or good night to you, sir, Mr. Yukio Udima. Of course, he is a iSports Radio Hall of Famer, the very first one in the iSports Radio Hall of Fame. So appreciate you, good sir, for tuning in. The Crooks Process, Davis and Crooks, you will hear him and see him later on today on this show, talking about his Titans. Thank you, sir, for all the love. And yeah, Titans will bounce back. Well, let's see. So thank you all very much. As I see the numbers popping up over here, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Whether you're tuning in on our YouTube, on our Twitter or X, on our Instagram page, thank you so much for tuning in. Whether you're catching this show later on, okay, whether you're catching the show on the recordings, you can check us out in so many ways, guys. Make sure to give us a follow right here at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that good stuff. If you ever want to go hear the replays of any of our shows, the audio, that is, okay, because the audio of this show for both the West, AFC West, and the AFC East are on iTunes, well, Apple Podcasts, and all these fine platforms down here. You can check us out: Apple Podcasts, Springer, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, and JioSaavn, or JioSaavn. I'm trying to learn how to pronounce that correctly. Of course, check out iesportsradio.com. We're also on there. All of our awesome custom-made pages and everything is on there as well. So check us out, daily updated website, and show us some love over there. Subscribe, jump on our forum, check out our blog, all kinds of really cool things. Fans of the month, our iSports Radio Hall of Fame. I mentioned Yukio was in that. All kinds of great things, man, because for the last 10 years, iSports Radio, we have done our best to deliver the best content that we possibly can, the best sports talk that we possibly can. And trust me, it isn't easy, but we've done our best, and we love what we do, guys. So check us out right here once again, iesportsradio.com/shop. If you love us enough, grab you some merch. Show us some love, man. Rep iSports Radio. We definitely appreciate you. Send us a picture. We'll even throw you on our Rep and iSports Radio page. That's also on our website. All right, so check out all of our custom-made pages. You can see all of the links to the audio and these videos posted daily on there, so check those things out. A lot of fun, and yeah, have fun on the website, guys. It's cool. I do my best to keep it up and do my thing there, so don't let that go to waste. All right, go check it out, show some love, and definitely check it out. So, all right, also, guys, check us out right here at 3 and Out IESR. Yours truly, moi. Okay, I am on there tweeting about football all the time, having fun. Not just American football either. I'm talking about the Canadian League and other leagues going on around the world. If I see something going on there, really excited, man. It's kind of cool. We see Taryn Rodriguez in the chat room already. 3 and Out College Edition will be coming up later on in August this year. Really excited to get back to that show. Taryn and I talk all college football, all right? I'm talking even high school football, the national ranks. We get into games of the week there. We get into the 3C2A, which is the junior colleges of California, which I played for Riverside Community College myself, the national champs in this year. Let's go. Really happy to see what Coach Kraft has done over there. But the 3C2A, the California Community Colleges, the NJCAA, which is the rest of the country, all those junior colleges. We cover Division III, we cover Division II, we cover the FCS, we cover the FBS, we cover the NAIA, we freaking cover everything, all right? So you love college football, check us out there as well. And that, of course, is 3 and Out IECE. But check us out, always talking football. Also, you can follow me, your boy Larry B, at the THEE_LB53. And without further ado, let's take a quick little shout out to our sponsors, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Head on over, y'all, to Instagram, give them a follow at Planet Jerky on Instagram. All right, and after you do that, head on over to planetjerky.net, grab you a bag, then you go back to Planet Jerky, let them know that you heard this ad and you just bought from them. And guess what? While supplies last, they'll give you a free bag of jerky. Okay, the smaller ones, but they're pretty good. Okay, delicious. You're going to love it. Always a great product from Planet Jerky. Premium biscuit beef jerky. The jerky that is truly on a whole other planet. And of course, big shout out to my beautiful wife. Her awesome business, Seal the Deal Wax Seals. If you have birthday parties, if you got invitations sent out, wedding invitations, baby shower invitations, you're sending a letter to a friend. This is a really cool thing here. Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Show us some love on Instagram at Seal the Deal _Wax Seals. Seal the Deal Wax Seals on Facebook. And of course, right here, iesportsradio.com/Seal the Deal Wax Seals. $1.50 for a seal. That's it. You pick the color. You pick the color of the wax. You can mix them together if you'd like. And of course, you pick the color that she colors it in with. Super cool. You want to check those out. So, all right, guys, we're going to show some love to our sponsors. When we come back, we're jumping into our very first team of the day. We are heading down to H-Town. That's right. Hashtag H-Town made with our boy, Trevor Hour, a brand new host of Spaced Out Sports here at IA Sports Radio. Whew, it's going to be a long one, but a fun one. Make sure to stay tuned for all 4 great interviews. And then at the very end, for my final weigh-in of the AFC South. You are listening to 3 and Out, 8 Division 8 days, AFC Week, AFC South Day, right here on IA Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Be right back talking Texans after this.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
Back, football fans. Here we go, y'all. It's about that time, man. Can you believe it? We finished off with the AFC West, then the AFC East, and now here we are on to the AFC South, starting off the 3rd day of 8 divisions in 8 days, man. 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. AFC week, day number 3 overall of the entire series, man. Always exhausting, but always so much fun to do. And well, here we go. Once again, starting things off in the AFC South. Today, we're talking Texans, Jaguars, Colts, and Titans. Well, in that order, at random every year. Well, here we go. Start things off with the Texans. I am really happy to have this guy aboard. He is brand new to the station. Super cool dude. You guys are going to love him. Trust me, he is the new host of Spaced Out Sports here on IE Sports Radio. He's ready. Look, he's ready to rock and roll. He's already got the.
We're throwing up the H. We're throwing up the H, man, for H-Town, bro.
Man.
Yep.
I'm loving it. He's bringing all the fire, man. I'm so glad to have him here, man. Make sure to check him out. Give him a follow here at Spaced Out _IESR. Also, check him out here on Twitter on his account. Trevor's tweets. I mean, it's kind of funny because, you know, it's very simple. Simplest handle I think I've ever seen in my life.
I was thinking about switching it to Trevor's X's, but that just sounds weird. That just sounds weird to me. I'm not doing that stuff. So
yeah,
Stick with that. Stick
Yeah,
with
that
Trevor's
wouldn't be
tweets.
good. Yeah,
Nah.
yeah. That had to sink in for 2 seconds there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Just play
welcome
it
to
through
the
your
new
mind
host
once. Yep.
of Spaced Out Sports. Our boy Trevor, man. How's it going today, man? But glad to have you on.
Dude, I love this opportunity. I love being here. I love talking to H-Town. Houston Texans, a team that I think surprised a lot of people last year as far as where they finished in the standings, and a lot of Jaguar fans that were like getting up in our mentions and stuff, talking about, oh, we own Houston and stuff. Whenever you're talking about H-Town Sports, whether it's the team behind me that's, that 7 straight ALCSs or the Houston Texans, it seems like over the past couple of years or so, these Houston teams, they never say die. They're always hanging around no matter how bleak it may look. They're always in it no matter what, and that's why they're such a fun city to watch.
Dude, I'm so with it. And it really is, man. Houston's got a lot of cool things going on right now. And I'll tell you, this is awesome because the Texans are catching fire at the right moment. I mean, you got your quarterback. We're going to get into everything right now. But, man, once again, welcome you, Trevor, to the show. Got to give him applause. Got to show him some love, man. Thank you for being on the show today, man. We appreciate you. So let's get it, man. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into this thing, man. Okay. The season before last, okay, was absolutely abysmal. It was the saddest thing. I mean, I'm a Raider fan, so I'm used to seeing things like this. But dude, look, I just got to go backwards really quick. I mean, look at this. The season before, you guys had more. I mean, my gosh, you guys had more L's. Okay, I mean, than I think I've seen on a record in a very long time. All right, I mean. This was crazy. Then D'Amico Ryans takes over. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. A complete switcheroo. You got a new dude behind center who everybody is just falling in love with.
It's phenomenal.
He's the guy. He says all the right things. He does all the right things. He carries himself as professional gets. I mean, you can't be more excited than to have this young man under center here. I mean, once again, just so many great things, man. CJ Stroud has been everything, every bit average.
Everything and more. Yep. Everything and more.
I mean, look at this record. Trevor, look at this record, man. I mean, you guys start the season off. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this first banner up here because, yeah, man, we're going over last season real quick, man. Start this thing off. But look at this, dude. 2 tough losses to start the season off. Obviously, the Ravens are the Ravens, right? Big, nasty, tough team. Got that tough L to open up the season. Tough loss to Indy. Still don't know how that even happened, but it's okay. You guys were setting things up. It's all right. Defeating Jacksonville on the road, coming back home, getting that first victory at home over the Steelers. Nice little victory there. Losing to Atlanta on the road, getting a nice victory over New Orleans at home, going into the bye week, going over to Carolina. Still a head scratcher of how you guys lost this game. Regardless, it was a loss. Well, actually, that would spark a 3-game win streak, defeating Tampa Bay, Cincinnati, and Arizona. Another tough loss here comes from Jacksonville. You beat them earlier in the season. They paid you back. Tough game right there. But then you rebounded, defeating Denver. Another tough loss here to the Jets. That was another head scratcher. A nail-biting overtime versus Tennessee on the road, getting that victory. A tough loss here to Cleveland. They were hitting Strider at the end of the season, but then, man, here you go. 2-game win streak at the end of the year, defeating Tennessee and Indianapolis. Well, that got you guys enough into the playoffs, and you guys took full advantage of it. Cleveland would beat you in the regular season on Christmas Eve, but you smacked them around in the wild card.
Wasn't even close.
Oh, it was nowhere near
close. And when you look at a schedule like this, you're going to be surprised. Like you said, Carolina, that was a head-scratching loss. Indianapolis, I guess, to an extent, maybe in week 2, it was rookie on rookie, and then Richardson got knocked out of the game, and then Gardner Minshew kind of came in. So that was kind of crazy. But this is the schedule that you would see when there's a rookie quarterback behind center. You're going to have those games where you're like, I don't know how we just came out with a win there. And then you'll have those games where like, how did we not win that game? This is the epitome of having a rookie quarterback, and he's going to struggle. I mean, rookie quarterbacks struggle all the time, despite, if we want to go back to 2022, we were like, why are you trying to win in week 18? We're trying to get like the best spot available. And I was never really a big Bryce Young guy. I always thought it was either Richardson or CJ Stroud. I thought those two were going to be great. CJ Stroud this year, he's had his moments where he's looked great. He's had some tough moments, but I mean, this season was one where you got to look at what you have for the next couple years to come and say, we can really build something here. And 10-7 and winning the AFC South, everybody says it all the time. God bless the AFC South, because you can win this division with 9 or 10 wins. And you can lose your first couple games of the season and still be maybe a half a game behind the team that's in first place. So it's never over until it's truly over. And I don't know if you want to, I'm going to give a lot of credit to CJ Stroud in that last game, finding Nico Collins on that, 73-yard touchdown or whatever it was. And Tyler Goodson, the pass from Gardner Minshew that hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it on fourth and 1. And right after that, you realized this division is in Houston's favor. Like, that's it. That's how it kind of came together. And it was after that 24-21 Jacksonville game where the Jacksonville fans were starting to come into the H-Town mentions, and they were starting to throw up the H, and they were starting to mock those guys. And you can't call it over until it's truly over, especially at a 6-5 record at the time. So it's going to be great going into next season. This was a great start, but seems like they can't really get over the hump that is the Baltimore Ravens. That's for sure.
But you're taking a look at that. I mean, beautiful analysis right there, by the way, Trevor. Great stuff, man. I'm excited to have you on board, man. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, if you just heard right here, Saturdays, Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Central Time, guys. This right here, please. Spaced out _IESR. You're going to get all of this and more on Saturday morning.
Training camp's coming right around the corner. You got Stros that just took first place in the division in the AL West over the weekend, despite taking 2 out of 3 against Seattle. Big things are happening in Houston right now. So,
man,
there it is right there. Drop the follow.
The Dynamo, the Dash. I mean, so many great things are going down over there, man. So, yeah, H-Town is where it's at right now.
Houston SaberCats rugby team just won over the weekend. I'm like, let's go, right?
We're getting into the rugby team, dude. That's what I'm talking about, man. Like, so yeah, man, Trevor's got you covered, dude. So make sure you check him out, H-Town folks out there. You're not gonna want to miss it, man. So yeah, just okay. I hate to even bring this up, but the divisional round, it's just the thing that you can't get past. It also is the Baltimore Ravens, as you can see in week 1 and in the wild card. The season started with a bad loss from them, and it ended with another one from them. But it's okay, because there is reason to believe people everywhere, this is a good transition spot right here, people everywhere are freaking out because what do we do with this team? We saw what they can do last year. They got a little bit of a late start, even though they were sneaky good all season long. Now, people aren't, it's the eyeball text message. You know what I mean? People are, who's this? You know what I mean? Yeah, because now here we go. Houston was a joke the season before. The next year, the joke was on everybody else. Okay. And this year is just going to be, it can be bad, but it could also be extremely special. And that is what we're looking at here, man. Looking at these off-season acquisitions. Obviously, I'm going to go over some of them, not all of them, but we signed D'Angelo Ross. You guys will sign Marcus Haynes. Let's see here. Who else did you guys pick up, man?
Jeff Okudah.
Okudah was another big one. CJ Henderson. I mean, you guys re-signed Steven Sims. So, I mean, lots of different moves here. Obviously, we're going to get to the draft.
Stephon Diggs. The Stephon Diggs trade.
Huge. So, I mean, we're going to get to the draft momentarily, but go ahead, man. Talk to us, Trevor. What were your favorite moves from the Texans? What were the moves where you were like, why? What were your moves that you were looking at in so many different ways going, okay, how do we put this together? I mean, what are all your thoughts for the offseason, excluding the draft?
I just love the fact that the GM, we are taking this approach of building a complete team around CJ Stroud, whether that's keeping him on the field with amazing defensive talent and great cornerback talent. I mean, you look at who they took in the draft this year, and I know we're going to get into that in a little bit, but I mean, you look at underrated, kind of under the radar guys like Jeff Okudah in the cornerback room. You're also looking at great offensive linemen that they drafted too in the top 4 rounds. And I don't know, you're building wide receivers around. Tank Dell is going into this next season scorching hot. Nico Collins, and then you got Stephon Diggs there. Depending on what NFL fan you are, they're going to say he's either the best guy to throw to, or I've seen the word diva being thrown to describe him around. But this is clear to me the GM has one thing on his mind, and that is to build a complete team around CJ Stroud. And they're doing
Yes.
it all the right way. When it comes down to it, it's hard to choose a favorite transaction of the offseason. Man, just look at what they did. I mean, Derek Barnett's kind of an underrated guy. He's the one
Oh
that
yeah.
strip sacked Tom Brady in the Super Bowl with Philly.
That's right.
So if that's worth something, but it's kind of hard to choose one. Other than mentioning the draft, of course, which, man, they got some studs and some gems in the sand in that draft.
Well, we'll get right over to that. Dalton Schultz is another pickup that I really liked a lot.
Yeah.
By the way, that was a good one, man. You can't finding a good tight end nowadays is it's like finding, I don't know, it's kind of rough. It really is. It's like finding the pair of pants that works for you. You know, we all
gotta find one that can block, one that can catch more than 10 touchdowns a year. It's one of the hardest things to find in the National Football League. And yeah, but at least they did find one. They finally found one.
It's true, man. I mean, a tight end is, you're right. Tight end, the versatility. That's why that is a very hard position. You are slightly undersized to be a tackle, but you are slightly too big to be a receiver. You can catch, maybe not as great as the receivers. You can catch, okay, but you can also put your hand in the dirt and block the hell out of somebody. Okay?
And you can also break 3 tackles because you're usually ginormous, and you could run through the defense like you're a Mack truck.
Exactly. And trust me, and you got to be fast. You have to be strong. Tight end is an extremely hard position to play. You have to be a very talented individual. So, yeah, man, Dalton Schultz, I think, is a hell of a pickup for you guys, man.
It's great.
Definitely excited.
Absolutely.
So, let's get into that draft, man. I know I see you're itching over there, and I get you, man. No, because, look, last year, you guys won the draft. Okay?
Yep.
You guys won the draft, and in my opinion, you won the season, okay? Because you did everything you guys could possibly do with that draft, and it was beautiful. Now, this year, completely different approach. I mean, completely different. Not only did you trade out of the first round, okay, not having the first round, but in that second round, man, you guys come out with, I mean, boy, how did this guy even fall to the second round? I thought he was going to be a late first round guy. Kamari Lassiter, huge pickup here. Corner out of Georgia. Next up, Blake Fisher. I mean, you want to add more to this offensive line. This guy right here, I mean, I'm an SC guy, so I know what it's like to hate the Fighting Irish. Okay, so I mean, this dude right here is an absolute animal. Total. I mean, once again, another guy who slipped. I thought could have been a first rounder, slips the second, total steal. As I said, I'm an SC guy, so Kevin Bullock, a dude that I watched for 4 years. I mean, this dude was a freaking beast, man. He played extremely well at SC. Loved him. Now he's heading over to be a Texan in his professional career. I'm so happy for him. I think he's going to do great things for you guys, man. We loved him at SC. Cade Stover, a tight end out of Ohio State, another tight end who can really make things happen. I mean, seriously, man, this is good stuff. Then on the later rounds, Jamal Hill, linebacker out of Oregon, solid. I'm a Pac-12 guy. Rest in peace. But you know, I'm a West Coast guy.
Pac-12.
I'm a West Coast guy, so I've seen a lot of Oregon football. Obviously, Jamal Hill, a guy that I thought would probably go a little bit earlier than this, but solid pickup. Jordan as well, running back out of Louisville. Another dude, Solomon Byrd, who I didn't know if he was going to get drafted or not. I'm glad he did. This is cool.
When you kind of get to those like later rounds, you're kind of looking for best position available, and I don't mind going running back or defensive end, maybe defensive tackle. You're still drafting these offensive tackles. And I mean, even when you're looking at offensive line, we already have Laramie Tunsil on one side.
Oh yeah.
At that point, they're drafting for depth, and maybe like when his contract expires, he'll take over. But I mean, they're looking great. And what better way to keep your quarterback upright than drafting a tackle to protect his blind spot? Because CJ Stroud, you saw what happened to Andrew Luck in this division, and that's the last thing Texans fans want to see happen to their star quarterback with a ton of potential. They don't want to see it go to waste, and you got to take guys like Blake Fisher, even though you do have guys like Laramie Tunsil. I saw that all over Twitter. Everyone saying, "Well, we already have this guy blocking this side. Why do we need to draft him?"
It football.
You already traded back in the draft. You want to draft for depth as well. You're adding more picks. You're doing whatever it takes to make sure he finishes the season fully healthy. And you're not just going for playoffs in Houston. You want to go for that first franchise Lombardi trophy. So I think depth is huge in the draft, and the Texans really nailed it this year.
Without a doubt. I mean, look at that. I completely agree. You know, getting all these guys, obviously the later round guys, Marcus Harris, Ladarius Henderson. You guys got some guys that are depth. Possibly practice squad guys that may not make the roster depending, but right now I think everyone's going to make the roster. I feel like this team, unless they're the bottom of the bottom, I think D'Amico Ryans is a guy that you want to play for him. You want to
you want to run through a wall for him.
Exactly, I was about to say that, man, because I'll for damn sure, man. If I was playing for D'Amico Ryans, he's that kind of guy where you run through a damn wall. I'll take on a diesel if I have to. I don't care. You want to play for that guy. He's such a cool dude, such a down-to-earth guy, treats his players with respect. He demands respect, but in the most coolest way possible. I mean, you want to play for him. So the Texans are hyped. They want to play for this guy. These youngsters are super excited to play for him.
And just look at that dude on the screen right there. Kamari Lassiter, an absolute ball hawk machine. And like you said before, I don't know how this guy escaped the first round and the first couple picks of the second round. I have zero clue. I mean, they were sleeping on this guy heavy. When you say ball hawk and you think of the Georgia Bulldogs, I think Kamari Lassiter is that number one guy. He's going to go through some growing pains like every cornerback does. But, I mean, he's got a defensive-minded head coach to guide him the right direction. They got some great players or great coaches on the defensive staff. So I think he's going to fit in there perfectly and couldn't have asked for a better first pick of the draft. If you're picking at 42, that's probably the best pick that you could take right there.
Oh, I am totally with it, man. I seriously think that was one of the best picks I think of the entire draft, because especially how far he fell. But hey, he's gonna have a great home in Houston, and he's gonna do great things for those Texans, man. Now, we talked plenty about. I'm telling you, we got to the last season, off season, just talked about the draft. Well, here it comes, Trevor. This is it, man.
Yep.
This season is here. All right. We are weeks. I mean, training camp has already basically started. Rookies have already appeared for certain teams. Training camp's getting basically officially underway this week. This is it, man. We're going back to the trenches, back to getting ready for the season. And the Texans are ready to roll, man. I think this is going to be a very fun season to watch these guys. And well, here we go, man. We are, as I've been telling everybody all week.
There it is right there.
We are staring at this season that could be an extremely special season for the Texans. And taking a look at this season, man, okay, obviously you got the AFC South in there, which, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I do feel that you guys have this division, but in the weirdest way, I don't know, crazier things have happened. There's some of these teams are ready, some of them aren't, but overall, looking at the schedule, the NFC North this year, okay, a chilly division, and obviously the AFC East. Actually, no, it's not yes, it is the AFC.
Yep, it is. Yep.
And a couple outliers in there. You got the Chiefs in there. You got the Ravens. I mean, why not, right? I mean, the NFL would be like, we're going to give you the Ravens again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
and it's got to be, of course, it has to be late in the season too, during crunch time, right in late December. Of course.
Right. I mean, as fate would have it, right? I mean,
yep.
Thankfully it's home. I mean, it could be
a home game. Yep.
So it's kind of nice. But Trevor, looking at this season right here, man, you don't got to give me a record or anything. If you want to, you can, or a range or something. But I will tell you, what do you think looking at the season? Are you hyped up? Are you excited? Are you a little nervous? What are you feeling looking at this season right here?
Everybody in Houston is, I want to say, a mix of both. We're really, really excited. Very, very, I would say a little bit nervous too, but it's like a good nervous almost. We're kind of like more excited than nervous. I mean, look at the first three games. You're looking at the Indianapolis Colts, who haven't won a Week 1 matchup since 2013. You're looking at a Chicago Bears team that's full of rookies. They're in a pretty much identical spot that Houston was in last year. And then the Minnesota Vikings, you really, truly never know which Vikings team you're going to get that week. They're either going to put up 45 or they're going to score 7. Like, you really don't get an in-between with that type of team. But the first 3 weeks are crucial, and I think they can come out either 3-0 or 2-1 in there. And if you jump out to a fast start, especially in the AFC South, and I think the AFC South is going to be so much better this year than it has been in the years past. I mean, you got to think, can Anthony Richardson stay healthy? Can CJ Stroud avoid a sophomore slump? That's a huge one too. Can Trevor Lawrence play up to the massive contract that he received? And how is Will Levis going to look in Tennessee? Those are all questions we need to look at, but I think it's going to be better regardless. what better way to capitalize on any opportunity than starting off the season either 3-0 or 2-1? And when you look at the middle of the schedule, again, some of these teams, you never know what you're going to get with the Jets. We don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be full form. The Dallas Cowboys, especially, you don't know what you're going to get with them. And Detroit, all of a sudden, is a very, very good team in the NFL. So I don't think they're going to be one-year wonders either. I think the Lions they have potential to go back to where they were last year. I'm not sure if the NFC Championship game, but they're going to be very good in that division. So they got some good competition. They got some rough ones. I'm looking at the Buffalo game on October 6th, looking at the homecoming of Stephon Diggs. I think that's going to be one that you highlight. I always do this with the schedule. Look at the games that you want to circle and use for like bulletin board material. I think the Bills one is the biggest one, and obviously the Baltimore one at the end of the season too. And we don't even know what time they're going to play Tennessee in the last week. I think that you could be, for all we know, we don't know what could happen, but that could be a fight for the top of the division for all we know. You never know what Tennessee team you're going to get either. They're either going to be really good or really bad. So I would probably circle those 3 games: Buffalo, Baltimore, and probably every AFC South game, I would think.
Oh, I'm loving it. Man, you got me pumped up, man. I'm excited for this. I really do think the Titans have it's weird. You're so right. You never know what you're gonna get with those guys. They're there, but they're not. But if anybody's there in this division, it's you guys. Because I mean, you proved it last year. And you know what, man? This just says so much. So there's a little segment here at the end of this segment. And this segment's it's pretty fun. Okay.
Let's go.
It's 8 years old, just like this show. And as long as I've been doing this, and man, this show, this is a pretty fun one. All right. So
I'm ready.
This little segment is called Stick It to Them. All right. Obviously, you have 3 other teams in this division that you just love to hate. All right. Yeah. You love to hate them. But at the same time, respect is in there. I mean, depending on your angle and how you look at things, you seem to carry yourself very professional. So I love that. But I will say this, Trevor. Of course, be professional. You know what I mean? Don't say nothing too crazy. But at the end of the day, hey, it's okay to talk a little crap too. So tell me how you think the other 3 teams, okay, obviously the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Titans, okay, and the Colts. Tell us how you think those 3 teams are going to do this season. And it's okay to sprinkle a little on top and tell us how you really feel about those teams. Without further ado, Trevor, stick it to them.
You know what I want to do? Before I stick it to any team, I want to talk about the Colts first.
Oh.
They always have a special place in my heart. Do you want to know why? Because I grew up a diehard Peyton Manning fan. So, and I always loved Andrew Luck too. No matter what team he played for, I respected the Colts. Like they're a division rival, but they're a team that I look at and say, hey, that's a pretty fun team. Their fan base is super, super nice as well. You don't really hear a lot of trash talk from them, but
I like that.
They're also referred to as Injury-napolis. They can't seem to stay healthy. So we'll say that to begin with. If we want to stick it to Indy, we can call them Injury-napolis. And I mean, we'll stick it to that. Tennessee, we can jump into Tennessee. A lot of trash talk for no reason whatsoever. I think that the fan base, they have this God complex to them. They think that I think if you were a blind NFL fan and you looked at a Tennessee Titans fan on Twitter, you would think that the Titans have like 7 Super Bowl rings. A lot of trash talk for a whole lot of nothing. And I don't really think I can talk that much because Houston hasn't had they haven't been to a Super Bowl. But I mean, if you want to talk about a team with a couple of championships, it's the Stros and the Rockets. But hey, the Texans are up and coming. They're on their way too. And how in the world can they still wear those Houston Oilers threads? They're called the Houston Oilers. Someone's got to tell them, when you wear the turquoise and the red on their face mask, you're representing H-Town. You're not. There are no. I don't know. I got no words to describe Tennessee fans there. Jacksonville, very similar to Tennessee. I think the fans. Well, I want to say this. It's the retirement home of fan bases. Every time CBS Sports pans over to the Jacksonville fan, he's either like 2 years old where he's like 80 and he's chilling in the hot tub there at Everbank Field. So I guess we could say that. I've never seen a Jacksonville Jaguars fans like maybe in their like mid-20s or early 30s. If you guys are out there on Twitter and you're like within that age range, please take a picture and send it to me for proof, because I have no idea. Yeah, my Twitter's right down there. I've never seen a Jaguars fan in their like mid-20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. They're usually like a toddler, or they're like 70 or 80. I will say that. You want to stick it to them, that's how I'm going to stick it to Jacksonville. We do play in the AFC South, but the Texans are up and coming, and I think the international symbol for choking should be the Jacksonville Jaguars logo for how they blew away that division last year, late there in the season.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trevor, sticking it to him, man. Let me get that was awesome, man. Let me get that applause button for you, man. That was awesome, man.
And to all my Colts people out there, I apologize.
It's all good, man. It was fun. You kept it professional. I loved it. That was a lot of fun. But I am so excited, man, for this season for you guys. And I know it's going to be so much to cheer about, man. It's going to be awesome. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, check him out, man. He's premiering next Saturday right here, Spaced Out Sports, or Spaced Out _IESR. Give him a follow. Also, at Trevor's tweets as well, man. He is going to be doing his thing coming up on Saturday. I'm so excited. He's going to be just having fun here on StreamYard, talking to all of you diehard Houston fans. I am so ready for this show, man. We needed to have a great host for our Houston show, and boy, we got him. So I'm so happy, man. Thank you. I know you're very welcome for the opportunity, but thank you for wanting to be a part of it, man, because at the end of the day, it's you guys who power IE Sports Radio, and we thank you for that, man.
No, thanks, Larry. Of course, I'm super fired up about this season. Throw up the H's, because we're coming this fall. Let's go.
Let's get it. All right. Well, with that said, guys, wow, that's the first one, man. As you can see, it was already great, man. We are gonna now fly on over east to Jack. I mean, we're gonna try to find a Jack. I think I know one. I know one here at the network who's a Jack. He's in his 20s. Yeah, no, there's one of them. But he's just one. This is one.
That is one. You know what?
One.
Then you know what that tells me? They exist. They exist.
With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be heading on over to Jacksonville, Florida, to talk about those Jacksonville Jaguars with the host of our Florida sports show, Palm Tree Sports, here at IE Sports Radio, Mr. Corey Pujols. It's going to be a lot of fun talking with him in a few minutes. But this was Trevor Hour. I'm glad you were here, man. That was a lot of fun today. We're going to be heading on over, like I said, to Jacksonville. Hang on to your hats, guys. We have one team done in the AFC South, and we're just going to keep it going. Once again, you are listening to 3 and Out, 8 Divisions in 8 Days, AFC Week, AFC South Day, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. When we come back, we're talking Jags after this.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, here we go, guys. We started off with a bang, man. The AFC South day has been fun. We started things off with a brand new host of Spaced Out Sports, by the way, here at IE Sports Radio, talking to our boy Trevor Auer. This dude was awesome, man. He set the tone for the show with Houston, because that team is going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. But we said just for the break, we're going to head on east, all the way down. I mean, I guess it would be the 10, because the 10 goes all the way from here in SoCal all the way over there to, I think, Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah, the 10 freeway. So I'll tell you this right now, man. We're hopping on I-10 and headed east all the way over to Jacksonville to talk with our boy, man. He is, of course, host of our Florida sports show here, Palm Tree Sports. He covers everything in that Sunshine State, including the Jaguars, his Buccaneers, and the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, you guys already know we got our boy JV yesterday to talk about his Fins, because he does the Miami show, obviously, the Magic City Scoreboard. But, man, Corey can talk about them Fins too. Regardless, he'll be here to talk about the Jags here tonight. And next week, we'll be talking about his Bucks when we get to NFC week, man. So excited for that. With that said, man, welcome in here. Proud member of IE Sports Radio, man. Glad to have him here. He is the host of Palm Tree Sports here on IE Sports Radio. You're going to want to follow this guy, man. He is at Palm Tree _ IE. Let me get that up there real quick for you, man. Right here. Check him out. He is the man. Obviously, he's covering all things in that Sunshine State. You can give him a follow there, and give him a follow here at Poolholes Corey. Let me go ahead and, sorry about that. Let me get the little @ on there for you. At Poolholes Corey. The guy is awesome, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in once again, host of Palm Tree Sports here on IE Sports Radio, Mr. Corey Poolholes. What's going on, brother? How you doing tonight, man?
Oh, man. Hey, brother. It's good to be here, Larry. Thanks for having me on the show, my man. I'm super excited to talk about these Jaguars and what's going on with them this season. And as you mentioned earlier, next week we'll be covering Tampa Bay. Can't wait to talk about my Buccaneers, but business is business, and we are here to discuss the Jaguars, and I can't wait to get into it, because that is a very interesting team headed into the 24 season.
Oh, they really are. But once again, Corey Poolholes, ladies and gentlemen, I got the applause button in there, man. This guy, he does it all, man. I'm telling you, he's one of those guys that he never even asks questions. Hey, Corey, can you cover this for me? Done. Can you cover this for me? Done. Hey, Corey, can you do this for me? I already know. I was already in your head. Done. I did that already. Like, what? Like, it's crazy. Like, Corey's that dude, man. He's a head ninja. Like, he's just crazy like that. So, with that said, man, I'm with it, man. Yeah, I'm with it, man. So, let's get to it, man. The Jacksonville Jaguars, man. Last season was wow. Let's get into this real quick, man, because last year a nice victory started things off over the Colts, and then boom. I mean, they played. Look, man. You guys played the dang Super Bowl champions pretty dang good here. It was indication that there was something good coming, but unfortunately, it just ended up in a loss. The Texans pretty much put a boot in the ass right there, man. Not a good victory, not a good loss. I mean, not a close one like the week before, man. Houston was coming that week, and they did. But then after that, man, a 5-game win streak over Atlanta and Buffalo and Indianapolis. 3 games there at home, and then finishing it off here, man. 2 games on the road, victory over New Orleans and over Pittsburgh. Into the bye week, you defeated the Niners. This game was probably the craziest one of the entire season last year. I don't even know how this happened, man. You guys, what a victory there, defeating those San Francisco 49ers. then off to Tennessee and Houston getting back to back. Then it just happened. 4-game losing streak. Cincinnati, Cleveland, more Tampa Bay. Just all bad in every way. You stopped the bleeding with a nice big victory over Carolina and a close loss to Tennessee last year. Of course, no for the last game of the year, that is, no playoffs, and just a kind of a tough way to end it. Corey, talk to us, man. Give us every raw emotion last year, man. Of course, you've been covering the Jags for us for a while now. What about them Jags last season?
So first things first, as Larry said, been covering the Jags now for almost 2 years. And one of the things that really jumped out about that season, you actually hit the nail on the head when you were going through it. I really feel like the turning point, if for those of you who have watched Jaguars football, you guys know that they've never really handled tremendous success very well. And that game against the Niners, I think, just gave them that. Sometimes we see a team in sports win a game and then go downhill, and you say, well, what happened? Well, what happened was they started feeling themselves. What happened is, oh man, the 49ers are the big bad team in the NFC. That's the team everybody's running from. Nobody wants to play them, and C-Mac and Brock Purdy and all those boys. But then the Jaguars, obviously playing with nothing to lose, my apologies. They were really able to bring their A game, and they performed very, very well. I did not see that coming. I'll be the first one to tell you I was rubbing my eyes like this here and trying to figure out what happened. What's this deal? But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the raw emotion from the Jaguars. So first things first, they finished 9-8, right? So when you see that 9-8, you say, okay, well, what happened? And as you just went through the schedule, we saw what happened. Rough start, right? Rocky start. Started to pull it together. 5-game win streak. Feeling good. Deion Sanders said it best. Look good, play good, pay good. Well, unfortunately, the pay good was the downfall. Because after that, they started dropping division games, and then they went completely downhill at the last 4 games of the season. Like you said, the game specifically, and I'm going to have to mention this because obviously they're in-state rivals, even though they're not in the same conference. When the Jags came to Tampa Bay, I said on my show, Palm Tree Sports, that I thought this would be a really good game. It was not a good game. One team showed up, the other team did not show up, and the team that showed up was the team that felt like they were trying to prove themselves more, which was my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But when you watch that game, you see how this team ended up the way that they ended up. And I want to give you guys a couple of stats very quickly to explain what I mean by this. First things first, okay? Trevor Lawrence passed for over 4,000 yards, okay? That's a big deal, except for when you go -3 in the turnover ratio. Okay, so you can pass all the yards you want. For those of you who remember, Tampa Bay had Jameis Winston at quarterback. The guy was a 5,000-yard passer. You know what else he did? He threw 30 interceptions in a single season. So we're seeing an example of that with Trevor Lawrence in this past season, that he just struggled holding on to the football. The majority of the turnovers that this team suffered last year were his own fault. And as somebody who was as touted as he was coming out of Clemson in college, and somebody who I am a fan of, Trevor Lawrence has been playing uncharacteristic football, and when your leader is playing uncharacteristic football, so is your team. I think the parts of the Caribbean got it the best. If for those of you who watch Pirates, if something vexes Jack, something vexes us all. Okay, so that's it. It's very prominent when you look at that. Lastly, to wrap it up, Travis Etienne had over 1,000 yards rushing. Great all-purpose back. Guy played at Clemson as well with Trevor Lawrence. So that continuity is there. But the inability to hold on to the football and protect the rock was the reason why this team went 9-8 and ultimately missed the playoffs after that 4-game skid to end the season. This team should have made the playoffs, and had they been more mentally resilient and had Trevor Lawrence actually taken time off to truly deal with his injuries, things could have been different. Unfortunately, they weren't, and back to the building blocks they went. It was a rough season for them, but hey, you got to build from something, and this is the perfect opportunity to do so for them.
You hit that on the head, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, can we go back to please, right? Do you see at palmtree_IE? Please give that a follow. Check this man out at Pull Score.
That's right.
I'm telling you, man. You want stats, you want numbers, you want. Highlights. He's got
everything,
man. Everything. I'm like something for everybody, man. You're like a dang sizzler, man. You got something for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
You want dessert? It's over there. You want some chicken? It's over there. You want some steak? It's over there. Mashed potatoes are right over there. It's just all the
what wine you sipping on?
What you sipping? I got you there too.
Yes, sir.
Got you, man. So Corey, man, I love it, man. Really, really good stuff there. It's true. I like that. They showed up, man. They showed up in some games, but some games they just didn't. The Buccaneers made an example out of them. I mean, just
Truly.
some crazy games, man. I mean, just some crazy games. So let's get to this off season, man. I'll tell you, this was Corey. This was. I don't really know what to say. I looked at this offseason earlier, and we're gonna look at some of these going back to January. Obviously, they weren't in the playoffs, so their season ended right around here somewhere. But taking a look at this, man, I mean, there were some players. I mean, Christian Kirk, he rejoins the team there. I mean, you guys will sign Sean Williams and Josh Peterson, but you do have here some waves, man. You guys waived Sammy Reyes. You guys would re-sign Ernest Johnson. We had Eric Armstead getting signed. That was pretty darn big. You got Urza Cleveland. That was pretty big. Re-signing Daniel Thomas. I mean, there were some players here. Getting waived. We have here just all kinds of different players, releases. You guys will get rid of Zay Jones. I didn't think I would see that happening. I mean, just so many different things, moving pieces here. But obviously, April, we get to the draft, and we'll talk about that separately right now. But then you get a little bit more, and Austin Trammell. Guess what? He's here. You guys released Jack Johnson. You guys will sign Mason Smith. I mean, McGowan now is a part of you guys. Denzel Mims is now a Jaguar. I mean, sorry, McGowan is gone. Mims is now a part of the Jag. So, I mean, let's talk about this real quick, man. What were some off-season moves that you really liked, some that you really hated, and some that you just honestly you're like, I don't know what to think about it. What do you think?
So the biggest offseason move, in my humble opinion, for the Jaguars was getting Eric Armstead. Okay, so it's going to seem kind of weird at first to hear that, but hear me out. That defensive line was borderline terrible last year. Okay, when you talk about going -3 in the turnover ratio, that has a lot to do with winning the offensive line and defensive line battles, because everything starts in the trenches before it moves anywhere else. And realistically speaking, part of the issue was that the offensive line didn't play well, but it's not like they really had a great defensive line to play against, which is probably why both of those positions underperformed. And as you said, we'll get into the draft in a second, but that's the reason why I think the Eric Armstead pickup was a huge pickup. He's coming over from a defense that found tremendous success, that he found tremendous success on in the 49ers. And then also he's bringing a layer of just athletic ability that the Jaguars were missing on that D-line last year. They had maybe 2 or 3 defensive superstars. Other than that, everybody was easily forgettable. And the reason why I say that is because when you're playing in a division that's weak, okay, such as the AFC South, and I have to say weak just due to the nature of them putting teams into the playoffs, not because they're actually truly bad teams. When you look at that, you say somebody's got to step up, and obviously the Jaguars acquiring Eric Armstead again is a huge pickup for them, because again, now that defensive line is actually going to be able to cause problems, thereby helping them create turnovers. Speaking of turnovers, one of the other signings that kind of got me interested was Darnell Savage. Okay, so the safety.
Yes,
that one was interesting, and here's the reason why it was very interesting. The Jaguars actually let go of Rayshawn Jenkins, okay, who over the last couple of years has started 69 games and picked off 9 passes. This guy is capable of playing safety. So the reason why I think this is interesting is because Darnell Savage is a tremendous safety. He's absolutely a good safety. There's no doubt about that. But the question is, did the Jaguars get better with that move? Or did they really just go position for position? Did they just say, hey, we're going to maybe save some money by spending money here and still get the same result? Or is it really truly that advantageous for the defensive roster that Darnell Savage take over that position? Because he's going to come in and start on day one. Okay, same thing with Eric Armstead. So I'm very impressed with the decisions as far as defensively throughout the offseason, not including the draft, but specifically with the people that they were able to sign. And then obviously Gabe Davis over there on offense. Okay, Gabe Davis, huge signing, comes from Buffalo, got a gunslinger out there, right? So this guy knows how to get under 50-50 balls. He's a very trustworthy wide receiver, and I really like what the guy does one-on-one to a lot of defenders. There are going to be a lot of times where this offense is going to be able to pound the rock simply because of the receiving core that they have out there with Christian Kirk, as you mentioned before, and then Evan Ingram. For those of you who did not pay attention, Evan Ingram quietly almost had 1,000 yards receiving and led the team in touchdown catches. So it's going to be very, very interesting now to see how this all wraps around, especially after what they were able to do in the draft. But specifically, those were the moves that really caught my mind as far as losing Zay Jones and a few other guys on that team, yes, it was going to happen because this team was eventually going to hit a cap space where they were struggling.
Yeah.
And you know what, they spent a lot of money 2 years ago in the offseason.
Mhm.
Christian Kirk got a max deal. And then, Evan Ingram got a deal. All these other guys were getting signed and whatnot. You pick up option on Trevor Lawrence and things like that. When that happens, obviously you're going to see some players go. Of course, Tampa Bay and Miami are no strangers to that. We've seen many players depart from both of those teams in recent memory over the last 3 years. And as a result, the Jacksonville Jaguars are just following suit as well as what the other two teams have been doing. And that's really what took place during this offseason. I think that they did better this offseason simply because they didn't break the bank. But we will really truly have to see if the rest of the pieces that have been acquired during the offseason are going to make a difference than what we saw last year. I think that they will, but I think that they will because they were able to sign some prominent people in prominent positions. And as a result, I think this team will do better. I think they can win 10 games. So we'll see what happens.
That's a good number. No, and I love it. See, because I'm telling you, you pay attention, man. You pay attention to everything from the cap to the X's and O's and Jimmy's and Joe's. I mean, you do it all. So I love it, man. So let's get on into the draft, brother, because I think I can feel it. You're itching, and so am I, man. The draft was fun for the Jaguars this year because this I mean, look, when you have everybody that you have still on the board, and this guy is available, you pick him, man. Brian Thomas Jr., man, this guy, I love it. He is a bigger receiver. He's a bigger guy. He's a stronger receiver, in my opinion. One of the bigger, stronger dudes, like the Megatron type dudes who are more physical and stronger. He's bigger. He's also fast as hell. He ran a 4.33. So I'm just saying, the dude is pretty damn good. You knew he was going to be a solid player coming out of LSU, and wouldn't you know it, he ends up becoming another one of Trevor Lawrence's, or one of his newest weapons, man. This is a great pick here, Brian Thomas out of LSU. Then in the second round, why not just take a teammate on the other side of the ball, man? Mason Smith, we talked about him earlier. This dude is a freaking beast, man. I love seeing him play. I don't know how he fell to the second round. He's somebody that, I mean, I kind of had a maybe early second round, maybe even a late first rounder, but 6'5", 306 pounds. He's got the height. He's got the reach. The guy can get the separation. I've seen him work a lot at LSU, and I really, really like what he can bring to the table. Jerry Jones, man, another guy here, a Florida State guy, okay, a guy that you know, because covering him locally and covering the team, but the Bulls, man, they produce some solid athletes, and this guy right here, a great pick. I thought he'd be a second round guy, so a steal here, I believe, in the third round. You have your Javon Foster, tackle out of Mizzou, a solid pickup here to help pick up the beef up the offensive line. Wouldn't you know it, man? You pick up another one of these guys, man, somebody who played right next to this big boy right here, man. Where's he at? Mr. Mason Thomas. You pick up his teammate, man. Mr. Jordan Jefferson, another big, strong, physical defensive tackle. Man, you're trying to build that defensive line. That defensive line hasn't been strong for a good amount of years. But DeAndre Prince, another one, man, corner out of Ole Miss. We get into the later rounds. Glenn Robinson, running back out of Texas. You have Cam Little, kicker out of Arkansas, because a kicker is always a good thing to have. And then later on, Miles Cole, defensive end out of Texas Tech. Look, we all know these later round guys, as I've been saying to everybody here on this show, you know, they're fighting to make a roster spot. They could or couldn't make it, depending. Some of them will be a practice teamer. Some of them will make it. Who knows? Some will be, released. It is what it is. But, Corey, looking at this draft, man, what did you think about it for the Jags this year?
This draft is a very, very interesting draft for the Jaguars. I have to admit, first and foremost, while I was watching the draft, I was staring at the screen, not puzzled, but saying to myself, they have an idea of what they want to do, and I think they're going after it now. Finally, they're going after a true identity that this team will have. And I think the draft is no different than that. So my draft grade for them was a B-. Okay. So my draft grade is a B- for them for a few reasons. First things first, as you said, with Brian Thomas Jr., for those of you who have watched my show and that have seen what I talk about, I am a Gator, but I also love LSU. That's an eternal rival from the West for the Gators, meaning I got to see this young man play ball, just as Larry described him to be: big, strong, fast, and he is going to get into your body. He's not just going to run a route. He's going to get open and he's going to make the catch, and he's got yards after the catch. This is an all-around receiver, very similar, as you said, to Megatron, and even more similarly to Devontae Adams, I would also say as well, just due to the fact, Devontae is slept on. Yeah, that man is extremely good at breaking tackles and yards after the catch, and that's what we've seen. Brian Thomas reminds me of a younger version of Adams, and I think he can bring a lot of the same material to the Jaguars. The trick here is understanding that even though this pick is amazing, this pick is absolutely phenomenal. Like you said, if he drops down to 17, you pick him because he shouldn't have dropped to 17, but he did. Obviously, there was Malik Neighbors and a few other guys who went before him, which is part of the reason why we saw him drop. But realistically speaking, I look at the Jaguars team and I say this: was that your biggest need? And the answer to that question is most certainly no. However, when you do this, when you make this move, like getting a Brian Thomas Jr. this early in the draft, you know what you're telling your quarterback? Go out and get it done. Okay? Go do your job. We've given you everything you need. Now the receiving core looks like this: Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr., all right, Evan Ingram, right? Can't forget about him. And then, of course, Gabe Davis. All of these guys would start on any roster that they play on right now. Okay, without Brian Thomas, of course, because he's a rookie, he's going to come in and he's going to find his time to play. He will play. But when you make this move, you're basically looking at Trevor. You're saying, hey, look, there's no excuse anymore. Now there's no longer any excuse. Either you become the man that we believe that you are, or you will not be on this team moving forward, because any other quarterback in this league is eating lunch, dinner, and dessert with this receiving core, okay? Now, obviously, we've seen the other draft picks that they had, and there were 3 guys that they picked from LSU. That should tell you something right there. Why? Well, because when Clemson had Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne starting at quarterback and running back, they ran into an undefeated LSU team in the national championship game. And they saw exactly the difference in, I'm going to say it, guys, SEC football and all the other conferences.
Yes.
Yep, it's the truth. And what does that mean? It means one simple thing: LSU produces players that come ready to play and start as soon as they get signed.
Today.
Okay? That's it. Today. Like, football doesn't start for another month, but these guys are ready today. And that's a huge deal. Of course, with signing Mason, that was tremendous as well. That guy was starting on LSU for the better part of the last 3 years. And even though LSU has not been the program it's been since JB has been gone, shout out Joey Burrow, obviously this team is still very dangerous in the West and commands everybody's respect in the SEC, as they have over the last 30 to 45 years. I think that this draft class is going to come in and make a very big difference. The only issue that I had that didn't allow me to give them an A+ was, yes, Jarrian Jones and all the other defensive stars that they were able to pick up in the draft. I asked myself, could you not have still gotten a very good wide receiver in round 2 and you take the best cornerback or the best defensive lineman off the board in round 1, just to make sure whether Trevor Lawrence is turning the ball over or not, you have a defense that's capable of getting you that ball back and trying again. Again, the defense for me was the biggest issue. Even though Trevor struggled, it's even harder to play football at quarterback when your defense isn't giving you opportunities. I think that they should have gone defense first and they go offense after that. But again, rock in a hard place, because whenever Brian Thomas Jr. is on that board, it's hard to pick somebody else before him. So B- is the score that I give them. Very happy with the majority of the decisions they made. But realistically speaking, for the team success, should they have gone defense earlier? Probably. Yep.
That's pretty big. You're absolutely right, man. I mean, you want to address the needs. Yeah, it's so huge, man. Sometimes it's not easy. I get that, especially when you got a player that's so tempting. But you're absolutely right, man. I mean, I just wanted to, I want to get to something real quick, man, because I like how we talk about right now. A quick little highlight here, man, of Brian Thomas. Man, let's take a quick look here.
Yeah.
We got this little pull up here, courtesy here of Jacksonville Jaguars on YouTube. But taking a look at this, check this out, man. So here we go. Okay, we have ourselves Okay, so we got Trips right. Look at this, man. Well, it's empty. I mean, my gosh, empty.
Yep.
So here we go. It's 50 protection. And take a look at this, man. To what you were saying a little bit ago. Here we go. Midfield, man. This is on the 50-yard line. Here we go. Here's a drop back, and look at that. Just lets it go. He just lets it go, Corey.
That's it.
That's it. Just one more time. Just drops back. He already knows. He's beat right there. Because if you take a look right in this area, I mean, he's already got this guy. I mean, he knows right where he wants to throw it. And right here, he knows, boom, that's it. It's gone. Look at that. Right in the basket, right into the end zone. And another highlight right here. Once again, look at this. He wins that. He's got that height battle. He's got a nice – he has that breakaway, man. And that's what I love about this guy. He has that breakaway speed. So, once again, I know probably been a defensive player. I know that. But, oh, my gosh. If you're not going to take somebody that's an absolute need, hell, this guy right here, this guy, I think, you know what, man, he's going to be a good weapon. Good weapon for Trevor, man.
Absolutely.
So let's get into the season, man. I'm so damn hyped up for the season, man. We have ourselves some fun talking about this. Talk about this season coming in, man. We, as I've been telling everybody, we're staring at what could be a great, what could be a dud, what could be whatever. But here it is, man. Taking a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars season, and well, we're looking at the AFC. What is this? AFC East and the NFC North this year, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and I got a couple outlier teams in here, but looking at this team, man, how confident are you for the Jaguars? Are you somewhat pessimistic? Are you optimistic? What are you looking at when you look at the season and you incorporate the team that we just talked about?
You know, that is a tremendous question there, Larry. I think this team has a lot of potential, and that potential isn't glass half empty potential. I think that this team, by virtue of a few things that I'm gonna outline, I'm gonna start with the fact that they're in the AFC South, right? So the first thing is this. The AFC South last year went through the Houston Texans when it shouldn't have. It should have gone through the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it did not. So now you have a chip, right? That's the first thing you have. As all great champions in history have alluded to, when you become champion, you no longer become the hunter, you become the hunted. And because the Texans are now the hunted, I ask myself, are we about to see another RG3 with CJ Stroud? Does he take a step back and perform minimal this year now that he's found some success and teams know to look out for him? Well, I think one team that's equipped to deal with that team is Jacksonville. Jacksonville's made a lot of moves this offseason, which we just talked about, and I think that gives them a perfect opportunity and chance to go out there and sling the ball around with CJ, who proved again that he was more than just a great quarterback, that he was also a great leader and knew how to make good decisions. Trevor can do the same thing, okay? Trevor didn't lose much in college, and when he did, it was always to other great quarterbacks such as Joey Burrow, as we talked about earlier, but more specifically, quarterbacks that had a lot more going for them. CJ Stroud coming into his second season, I think, will struggle against the Jaguars now that they have a better defensive line and a deeper depth at cornerback and safety. At least through the draft, they were able to acquire that. Of course, with some undrafted free agents, there will be some more help there. I think that because of that, this team can actually play for the crown, the AFC South crown. I think that they can win 10 games, and I think that they will be able to 2-0 somebody in their own division. I think that somebody will probably be the Titans. The Titans have the opportunity to be good, but because of that very same thing and because of the struggle that Jacksonville has faced, they will know just what it's like to play against another team that's struggling to find success, but can do so. So when you look at Indianapolis, I just don't see Anthony Richardson getting injured so early again next season. And I think Anthony Richardson will be a difference maker for Indianapolis. I think the guy is quietly one of the better younger quarterbacks in the league. Obviously, he went to Florida, so we saw him. And you know who else saw him? The Jacksonville Jaguars. They saw him playing right down the street, obviously. It's one of those things where you say, okay, I know what these two teams bring to the table, right? And then you look at the CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans and you say, okay, listen, if we can steal a game from them, if we can 2-0 the Titans, if we can, I mean, you can try to 2-0 Indianapolis. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you steal a game against Indianapolis, that's 4 wins right there. That's going to be the exact same, division record that any other team in the division would have if, of course, they go 2-1-1. Realistically speaking, This team can win the division, okay? It's going to come down to the second half of the season, but I want to outline the first half of the season. The first 5 games are all AFC teams. So one thing we will know is that if the Jacksonville Jaguars have a tiebreaker moving forward, it could come down to one of those 5 earlier games, especially since they're playing the Browns and the Bills and the Dolphins, okay? The AFC East is completely loaded. 2 of those teams will make the playoffs, meaning 2 teams from the AFC South most likely will not. And if the Jags can win, I would say if they can go 3-2 in that, if they can go at least 3-2, that they can make the playoffs and they can win the division. However, if they're unable to do that, more importantly, if they have a losing record to start the season, I'm not going to say the season gets better after that, but I'll tell you what does stay consistent: those division games. And now those division games will mean more because the conference losses weigh more when you're headed into the playoffs on a tiebreaker. I think the Jaguars can win 10 games. I think they can win the division in an extremely competitive, not great, but competitive AFC South. And if they do so, they will find themselves in the playoffs. However, again, if they do not start well against the AFC, those tiebreakers could come back to bite them in the behind, just as they did last year. Because if we all remember correctly, I believe the Jaguars only needed to beat the Titans to get into the playoffs as a wild card, and they did not. So I think that they have a shot, but they're going to have to start strong. And unfortunately, if they're unable to do so, if Trevor Lawrence is unable to get out of his own way, the Jaguars will unfortunately miss the playoffs, and they will be looking for a new quarterback next offseason.
Oh, you're calling it, Corey. You're calling it. You're calling your shot. You're calling corner pocket. Yeah, 8 ball. I mean, well.
Yeah.
You know what, Corey? It's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair because there's a guy right now, and I'm sorry, I know Drewski's probably hears me a million times already talking about this, and I know he's probably like, I can't wait to get on there and talk to him, set him straight. But there's a guy right now in Dallas, man, who's well, let's just say he's getting ready to go to training camp, and he's going, I gotta show out this year.
Yeah.
And that guy, his name is Dak Prescott.
That's correct.
And
Mississippi State.
Yeah, I'm just right, Mississippi State, and he knows, okay, this is it. This is the year. And you know what? I think it's fair. It's fair that you say the same thing for Trevor Lawrence. Look, you had time. We gave you as much as we could, weapon-wise and everything like that. You got to hold your end too now. Okay, and I get it. People can say what they want to about Khan, and I understand all that. But when it comes down to it, man, look, he is who he is. That whoever helps with all the picks and everything, the war room and whatever they are, who they are with the Jags. But Trevor Lawrence is also who he is, and you know what? Sometimes you gotta make what's one of those sayings? Sometimes you gotta make sherbet out of shit, right? I mean,
that's correct.
It's the truth, man. You know what I mean? And if you don't, well, then guess what? I mean, guys like Aaron Rodgers had a couple of wide receivers I could think of that were good. Guess what? He made wide receivers. Okay, that's all there is to it. There were some guys who were like, "Who's Lazard?" Oh, we know him, right? Now. We didn't know who that was before. You know what I mean? So he makes them. So he's got to get on that train. He's got to make. So if he doesn't, if they don't have a name yet, he's got to have them make a name. So you're absolutely right, man. I like the make or break this year for Lawrence, man. Pretty big there. So here it goes, man. Corey, we have reached the final segment of our show. It's a fun little segment we like to call Stick It To Them. You know about this segment from last year with the Bucks. So here we go, brother. We have at the very end here, man. You got 3 other teams in this division. Obviously, you got the Colts, you got the Titans, and you got the Texans. Good and respectful, nice and respectful, however you want to say it. Mean and ugly, obviously, stay professional. But when it comes down to, don't got to tell it to Corey because Corey's always professional. But at the end of the day, talk to us, brother. Let us know, man. How do you think the other 3 teams are going to do this season? And it's okay to sprinkle a little hate on top and tell us how you really feel. Without further ado, Corey, stick it to him.
Yeah, Corey Unhinged coming at you right now. Very fast, very rapid into your bedroom. Let me keep it real with you. First things first, I talked about Houston. I don't like Houston. Screw Houston, okay? I don't like. They're ugly. Their uniforms are ugly. That helmet is ugly. What is with all that coming out the side of. They got a quarterback who's ugly. Went to an ugly college at Ohio State University. I mean, what is the Ohio State University anyway? Realistically speaking, Houston, get out. Y'all don't deserve to be there. You're an expansion team. Know your role. Shut your mouth. Let's go Jacksonville. Jacksonville is also an expansion team, but we care about that expansion team, not the Houston Texans. We care about Jacksonville, not Houston. The Titans, hey, listen, Titans, I have a lot of respect for you in your 20-year existence. I mean, y'all lost the Super Bowl and decided to move to another city. I don't get it. But, hey, you know what? More power to you. Go out and lose this division one more time to Jacksonville. Well, not to Jacksonville. Just don't win the division because y'all don't do that anymore. I mean, where is Derrick Henry at anyway? I mean, never mind that. Forget that. He's off somewhere being more successful than he was with you guys, okay? And then as far as Indianapolis Colts, I actually have some respect for Indianapolis, okay? Tony Dungy was a former coach for Tampa Bay, helped build the roster that won our first Super Bowl, and he went on to Indianapolis to coach Peyton Manning and win a Super Bowl with him. Great story. I love Tony Dungy. He actually pastors randomly at my church, okay? So it's so cool to see him speak because he's a wonderful man to listen to speak. But guess what, guys? He's no longer the head coach of Indianapolis. And you know what that means? That means I no longer care anymore. I mean, realistically speaking, Indianapolis has my respect. Yes, they have the great Peyton Manning, and now they have, Anthony Richardson, who went to Florida, and I wish him nothing but the best of luck. It's just the other 52 players on the team that I don't wish the best of luck to, okay? I mean, that's just how that goes. I really hope all of y'all make the practice squad and nobody makes the actual team. I mean, look, listen, at the end of the day, I guess what I'm really saying is go Jacksonville because the AFC South sucks and you guys are the only team worth taking a crown to begin with. I mean, realistically speaking, which one of those teams in its first couple of years of existence actually made the playoffs? Jacksonville. Which one of those teams actually drafted a good running back? Jacksonville. Which one of those teams actually drafted great players in general? Jacksonville. Okay. I'm super proud of this team and I can't wait to see what they do, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I make friends with the AFC South. I don't hope any of you succeed. I hope you all have the same record, which is 0-17. And at the end of the day, if y'all all miss the playoffs, then it'll be a better playoff picture. Okay. Go Jags. I hope the Houston Texans and I hope CJ retires midseason, bro. I just hope he just quits. I don't like Ohio State. I don't like Ohio State. I don't like the Texans. That's my thought process. So, hey, look, AFC South, have fun, get run over like a bulldozer, and go home. That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Corey Pujols, man. Once again, man. Right here. You want more of that? That hot fire? I'm gonna call him Dylon.
Right here on the chin.
He's Dylon, spit hot fire. Oh my gosh, man! Look at this right here, bro. Bro, I'm sorry. At palm tree _IE, man. Oh my gosh, that's got to be one of the best damn sticker tunes I think we've ever had in this 8-year existence. Oh my gosh, yes.
Sir.
At Pujols Corey, man. Please give him a follow. Look, man. Palm Tree Sports is off tonight. He'll be back next week to spit again, man, to do this. I'm excited with the Buccaneers. Oh my gosh, man.
Let's go.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be a
best
fun
team in the South,
week.
baby.
Let's get it, man. Look, I'm excited, bro. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. You made the show even better, and I am so dang excited to be airing this in a couple days. Hopefully, everybody that gets heard this right now on Wednesday's show, enjoyed this because, man, that was a lot of fun. So with that said, y'all, that's going to do it for this segment. Wow, two great teams, two awesome, man, to start off, man. Corey just set the tone for the rest of the show, man. We started off with the Texans, then we got with the Jags. Now we're heading up over to Indianapolis. I know, Corey's like, ew. But anyway, so we're heading up north. We're heading up north to Indianapolis to talk about them Colts next. But trust me, guys, we have more fun on the way. You are listening to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days, AFC week, day number 3, AFC South day, right here on IE Sports Radio. Your directly for all that is sports. We'll be right back talking Colts after this.
Hey, sports fans. Are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a down south education on Florida sports and athletics. It's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you with the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, here we go, guys. AFC South Day has been rocking and rolling. We started things off, of course, with the Texans. Then we went on over down east on the 10, east on I-10, over to Jacksonville. Now we are headed all the way back up, and there's many, many highways and freeways and everything that connects Jacksonville all the way to Indy. But we are all the way up now in Indianapolis, and I'll tell you, we are so blessed today to have struck some gold, because we got a dude over here who's no stranger to the station. I'm so glad he was able to be a part of this thing. Look, the guy was just doing drumline for the Brickyard 400. What a great race that was, by the way. But man, doing his thing over at the iconic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And of course, him and his crew, they're drumming all over the place in Indy, man. Just a great place to be. Awesome city. And it's an awesome guy to go with the awesome city. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming, of course, he is former host of our Indianapolis show here at IE Sports Radio. And of course, he is like the main dude. Well, at least I'll say that. He's probably like, don't say that. But I think, okay, look, from my perspective, main dude over, high octane, man, with his drum line. Amazing stuff. You got to check them out on YouTube. Of course, he will tell you where to do it to find them. But ladies and gentlemen, welcoming Justin Lahr. What's going on, man? How you been, brother?
Right on, man. Hey, appreciate the kind words. And I'll take that. I was definitely one of the co-founders of the group way back in 2007, man. So we've been doing it for a while. Glad to be back on the show, man. It's a pleasure. Appreciate the shout out.
It's so great to have you back, man. It is. And I'm just really happy to, man, you guys have been doing some big things, man. I mean, before we even start, what you just mentioned, the Brickyard 400. What else have you got going on with these guys, man?
So I'll just jump right into it, man. Probably the pinnacle, one of the coolest things we've ever done as a group was the 2024 All-Star Game. We actually were a part of performances for the Saturday night celebrity night, the celebrity game. We were bumping elbows with all kinds of people in there. We were part of the HBCU game, and then we were actually on the floor doing a pregame performance for the actual All-Star game, and I got to check the actual game out, and it was so crazy. Like, I can't even believe it was real. Like, it was so surreal, just that whole week of preparation and going into it. Yeah, man, I'm still on cloud nine from that. So that's probably been one of the biggest events that we've done as a drumline, as a group. Now, granted, that group's a little bit different than what the Colts drumline is. There's a lot of the same guys that do both. But yeah, that group's high octane. That's the name you let me carry with the show. So at least for a while, as long as they would let me have it. But yeah. So we had that going on in February, and then we all know what happened in April and then into May with the draft of Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever. So we actually also are the Indiana Fever drumline. And that transformation has been nuts. Like being at Fever games. Now, great, I've been there for a while. So like seeing Fever games now from what they were, like we were literally the loudest people in the building for a long time. Like those crowds were so dead and there was hardly anybody there.
No.
They were playing games at like the state fairgrounds, man, like in the state fairground Coliseum. We were playing games at Butler when they were renovating the field house in between seasons and stuff. So now they are regularly selling out the field house, which Pacers can't even claim to do that. I mean, they have more national televised games than I think the Pacers ever have had in a season. It's bananas. So yeah, the hype is real though. I've been blessed to check out a couple games and being part of the group, and it's awesome, man, to see the state of kind of sports in Indy here, man. It's, you know, with Tyrese Halliburton making the All-Star team and making the run that we did in the postseason, that was awesome to be a part of again. We haven't had a Pacers team like that since like 2014, like going on that run to the Eastern Conference Finals. So that was amazing to be a part of. And then, yeah, doing stuff for the track. We drummed for the Indy 500 out at the Speedway. And like you said, Brickyard 400 this past weekend. So we're very happy to be busy, man. So we're hopeful that we can keep our thing going with the Colts. We're still in contract negotiations with them right now, kind of like some of the players might be, but we're hopeful. We're going to keep our fingers crossed that we can keep drumming.
Dude, I'm with yes. Well, we'll be looking out for you, man. I'm so excited for all the awesome things you've done and the things you're gonna get into, man. I'm really loving it. I'm a drumline guy. I mean, college football, you know what I mean? Like, and college football and drumline are synonymous. I mean, they just go together. So yeah, the coming out of the tunnel, the walk up to the tunnel, just drumline surrounds college football. So it was always
for sure.
Part of my life. So I respect the hell out of it, man.
Quick sidebar. You know that new game that's out, right? So
I got it.
Yeah, There. So I wasn't able to, but I've got several dudes who are in the line and some dudes who've been in the line who actually got to record drumline tracks for that game and are on those tracks in that game. So that's pretty dope. So like you said, man, it definitely permeates the game. I feel like it definitely adds to that atmosphere.
Dude, it's amazing. It's right. I mean, I love it. It gets you. It gets you ready for college football. I mean, I can smell grass when I hear drumline. Like it's just
man.
It's that feeling, dude. So I'm ready, man. Let's do this. Taking a look at last season, brother. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Colts last season. I know it's a season you probably want to forget, and I totally understand that. Okay, it was something that was a little out there because the injury happened that nobody wanted to see. Of course, you had the tough go for Anthony Richardson. I mean, it was just so hard seeing that happen. But dude, man, look. This season was a weird one. Okay, we start off with this loss to the Jags. The Jags are weird. They're up and down. They have a good team, but then again, they have these awkward games where you're like, I'm not sure if they're that good, and then they come out and win a great game, and I don't know, they're up and down. But the guys, they got you this one, okay, in that first game. Then a 2-game win streak, defeating a very good. Well, Houston didn't even know they were good until like midseason, okay.
Right.
But you guys got them
they're
early
legit.
on. Yeah, that was crazy, man. And then a nice victory here in overtime over Baltimore. A loss on back-to-back overtime games. A loss here this time at home to the Rams. A nice victory at home versus Tennessee. A 3-game skid, man. This was rough. Starting in Jacksonville and then dropping 2 more to Cleveland and New Orleans. Rough goes there, man. But you're redeemed. Okay, you get 1, 2, a bye week, 3, 4 victories in a row over Carolina, New England, Tampa Bay, and Tennessee. Obviously, Tennessee there in overtime. And then at Cincinnati, get a nice victory. You get a loss, unfortunately. A nice victory in Tennessee. That was a tough one, but a beautiful victory. And then gets a rough go versus Cincinnati, man. Such a tough game there. You redeem again with a nice victory over the Steelers. Then a loss again to Atlanta. I still don't know how you guys lost that one.
Oh, that was awful.
Then my Raiders, dude. that was a great game versus the Raiders, man. I was so I was disappointed, but I was pumped up at the same exact time because I saw 2 good teams that were going head to head, 2 young teams that were just fighting, man. So that was a good game.
And then we get a loss here at the very end, man. Another tough one here to Houston. And of course, no playoffs. But Justin, I spoke too much already, good sir. You take it on over, man. Tell us every raw emotion as a Colts fan last year.
No, man, it definitely started out pretty high. I told you before we started the show that I had one stat that I wanted to see from Anthony Richardson. The only stat that mattered to me for the entire season was games played. I didn't care how many interceptions he threw, which, by the way, Peyton Manning still holds the rookie record for most interceptions in a game. We all know how his career ended up. So I didn't care about interceptions. I just wanted him to play all the games, like no matter what. And of course, didn't quite make it through, the first 4 or 5 weeks. He had the concussion. He's got to learn to protect himself. So I know that's going to be a point of emphasis and a focus for him. I know he's been hitting the weight room. He's been getting his weight up. He's definitely had the experience factor now, being able to see how things happen from the sidelines, and seeing all the coaching that goes on and all the calls being made, and hopefully him being able to watch Minshew, which, got to be honest, like Minshew definitely played his butt off that whole season. And we were one play away from making the playoffs there in that last game of the season, which we'll get to. But no, man, you could definitely see flashes of what Richardson could be. I mean, the guy is just a freak of nature. And all the hype, I think, was justified. Like, a lot of people was like, oh, well, he's not accurate. He has, everybody was like, why do you take a guy who's got such limited college experience and, with only just a few games played at Florida? But you see his work ethic, you see the skill set there, you see the insane numbers he put up at the combine. You're like, man, he just needs, he's like clay, right? He's like just a hard ball of clay that he can be molded into exactly what you want in today's NFL quarterback. So I feel like, with this being Chris Ballard's 8th season as GM, he's definitely got some things to answer for. But I know we'll get into that. But last season, we had the Jacksonville loss, but still Richardson goes off. You got the stats right there. He goes off for 223. He actually was the leading rusher in that game with 40 yards, some crazy flashes in that game. Houston, like you said, that next week, we finally got that first win of the season. You could definitely see that's going to be a rivalry going forward for sure. Like, both quarterbacks are for real. We didn't see it till later in the season. Like you said, by halfway through, you could see, oh, Houston's the real deal for sure. They got the right guy at the quarterback there. That Baltimore game was bananas.
Dude, talk all about that thing. Dude, go in depth, because that was a hell of a game.
Yeah, so that's one of those where, like, you could tell that the Colts players did not care that Baltimore was this juggernaut. It seems like they always got a million running backs on the squad, and they were going to play their game no matter what. And then you're going up against one of the marquee, man. That was the matchup we were robbed of, though, man. I really wanted to see, Lamar go up against Anthony AR, because that's who AR looked up to. Like, that was his idol, his QB idol. And so missing out on that matchup with Jackson and AR was tough. But no, Minshew balled his butt off going into overtime. You have Matt Gay hitting, like, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 consecutive 50-yard bombs, like 50-plus yard bombs, to keep tying it up or pushing it back to the lead. So that game was awesome. That's when you knew, like, okay, even if Anthony Richardson's hurts, like, we got a squad here.
There's something here, right? Like, that's what.
Yeah,
and that was the game. That was the game. Gosh damn it, that was a game.
Yeah. And you still had Taylor, who was out. Like, he hadn't come back yet. There were still all the rumors swirling around with the contract stuff. Like, was he happy? Was he not? So you had all that drama. And so yeah, man. And then to come back home that next week, I feel like this was Anthony Richardson, one of his best games. I mean, granted, he only played a couple, but that first week 1 matchup, in fact, he only played part of that Houston game. But then to come back against LA and play the way he did, and to bring them back, they were down in that game big time, and he brought them all the way back. Man, I wish we would have won that game. But that was one of those moments, like, okay, yeah, you can see it. Like, you got Aaron Donald draped all over him, and he still is able to, like, flick his wrist forward, even though his arm's getting hit, and complete, I don't know what it was, like a 40 some odd yard pass to Alec Pierce. to keep the drive alive, man. So like you could see in that game for sure, like, all right, he's got it. He just needs that experience and he needs the reps. And he needs that pattern recognition of being able to recognize coverages and being able to adjust. Because that's the thing, is like his athleticism can make up for so many mistakes that a lot of guys wouldn't be able to get out of. So he's got the improvisational nature about him. But yeah, sadly, that would be his last really big go of it for the season. So we were stuck with Minshew Mini. And not that that was a bad thing, because like I said, he carried us through all the way up to that last play up against Houston. So yeah, it was tough losing to the Jags. I mean, I'm never gonna. This is just me trash talking now. I'm never gonna take Tennessee seriously. I'm sorry. I'll take Jacksonville and Texans. Like I think Texans and Indy are gonna be the ones who are constantly vying for that AFC South. But yeah, Tennessee, I'm never really worried about. Sorry. So that wasn't a surprise that we came back to beat Tennessee. But yeah, Jacksonville, we are cursed. We cannot win at Jacksonville to save our lives. It feels like, man, we've got some demons we got to exercise in some kind of way. And I don't know if it's going to happen this season either, but we'll see. The Cleveland game. Let's talk about the Cleveland game. When the NFL came out and said and admitted they had botched those calls, two game-changing calls, which would have won the Colts the game. I remember being there in the drum line, like we were set up in the big horseshoe entryway, like ready to play, the victory beats as people are going out the stadium, like, oh yeah, we got this in the bag. And then to see that total collapse in those missed calls, like the fans were besides themselves. And I was too. Like I was ready to go off. I was like, man, what did I just watch? And then to see that report that came out afterwards, like, oh yeah, we really did mess those up. Like, okay, great. So what you're saying is we got a loss and there's nothing we can do about it, but y'all definitely messed us over. So that one was probably the hardest pill to swallow, especially with the way the season ended on the last play against the Texans to win and get in. If we had beaten that, if we had that Cleveland win, it might not have even been an issue. So that one was probably the low point of the whole season, I think. And then we had some similar issues against New Orleans with some calls being a little bit fishy. It wasn't as blatant as Cleveland, so I can't really say that much, but that was tough to try and bounce back from. Carolina, man, we were messing around. I felt like in the first half a little bit, like, man, we cannot be losing to our former coach here. Like,
right?
I love Frank Reich to death, man, but that situation was terrible for him to even go into, and it was impossible for him to even try and fix. Like, you could just tell ownership doesn't know what they're doing. Sorry, Carolina, but it is what it is. So glad we eked out that win. I love the fact that we still got New England's number, because regardless if Tom Brady's playing for them or not, there's always going to be that Colts Patriots thing going on. So it was a good way to go into the bye week, coming out against Tampa, starting to get Taylor some more consistency. And you could kind of tell that he was rounding back into form after his injury issues. So yeah, one against Tennessee in overtime. Again, I never really felt like that one was in a doubt or was a doubt. That's just me being overconfident. The Bengals game, that was probably again, I said Cleveland was a low point. The Bengals, man, it's like they just didn't show up for that game. They just got I don't want to say the brakes beat off of them, but that was a really bad showing. But a great way to bounce back that next week against Pittsburgh, especially with how well-traveled Pittsburgh's fans are, man. Like, I swear there's more black and gold in the stands at our home games. And that's just me being real. Like, I see more black and gold at Colts home games whenever Pittsburgh comes to town. It is nuts. It's like them, Dallas, Green Bay. They've got some crazy, crazy fans that will travel for real and support their team. So that's always a good game to go to if they're in town. In fact, I think we get them again this season at home. So that should be another good one for us. But yeah, Atlanta, that was probably the worst game of the season. Aside from all the controversies surrounding Cleveland and, not showing up against Cincinnati, I don't know what they were doing against Atlanta, man. That one was just an embarrassing loss. So, and that was right around the time where it's like, okay, we're starting to see the playoff picture round into form. And it's like, oh, we're putting ourselves in the same situation. It feels like we're always in these last few weeks of the season where it's like, have we taken care of business against these other teams like Atlanta, like Cincinnati? Or, I mean, not to say that we would have beating Cincinnati, but like we should have had a better showing at least. But some of the other losses that could have gone one way or the other, and then you lose to Atlanta like that. Coming back against your Raiders, I wasn't quite sure. Like that one, I was definitely on some pins and needles. I'm like, man, are we about to see the same kind of thing happen where we just had a meltdown? It felt like I don't know if it was 2 seasons ago now, we fell apart against y'all and Jacksonville, like the last 2 games of the season, and it was like, what happened? So yeah. Then in that last game against Houston, it came down to the final play. Again, there's a lot of controversy about that one, where you're throwing the ball to a guy who had only touched it once the entire game. In fact, I don't even think he even got a gain on that play. It was running back, throw up. Minshew just, threw a duck. It never had a chance. Never had a chance. Like, what are you doing calling this play? Which if he had pulled it off, Chase would have looked like a genius. Like, oh yeah, the play. It was, oh man, that was a genius play call. Now it's like, you are the biggest idiot. Like, why are you putting the ball in a guy's hands who hadn't touched it all game?
Seriously.
So I definitely, like, it was bittersweet because you could tell, like, we had the players, even though we didn't have Anthony Richardson out there. You had Taylor rounding into form. Offense was starting to click. Defense was definitely starting to lock some stuff down. We were relatively healthy outside of our QB1 issue. And so it felt like we could at least get to that wild card and see if we could make some noise. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be. So the thing I'm most hopeful for this season is definitely keeping Anthony Richardson healthy, him keeping himself healthy, but also seeing how this Joe Flacco dynamic works out, because I know he came in kind of bristled a little bit about, being a mentor and this, that, and the other. He's more like, hey, I'm here to do a job. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to job. I'm gonna get paid for my job, which I get. And I like having that veteran presence. But yeah, Minshew will definitely be missed because he was a whole vibe, man. That Minshew mania was real.
Dude's crazy, man. He reminds me of the Amish rifle. Does some crazy stuff. Like,
yeah.
How did that happen? Like, yeah, man. But no, I don't know. Could that be his role in the future as the journeyman that traveled everywhere and played and won some good games? Who knows? But I'll tell you, this offseason, man, Joe Flacco, here he is. You guys will also sign Laquan Davis. Let's see here. Devin Bryant will be there. You guys will re-sign Danny Pinter. I mean, it's a lot of signings here. But before we get into the draft, off-season wise, what were your favorite pickups, biggest departures? What are some things that you highlighted in the off-season that you really feel are going to be significant this year?
Honestly, like, I was really impressed the way they re-signed guys. You could tell that, and a lot of people around here in the Indy area didn't really like it. It was basically with all the contracts that they had structured, it was essentially like, hey, we're going to run it back. Like, Anthony Richardson went out. We're going to give a lot of these guys another shot. Like, Alec Pierce has been catching a lot of flack for, not being very productive. But when you look at the actual game film, guys like him are getting overlooked because, to be honest, Minshew's not the type of guy to push it down the field like AR can. And so Alec Pierce was more that slot guy who was running go routes. I think he had like the most distance covered out of almost any NFL receiver for the season, even though he wasn't getting balls thrown his way. It's because that was his role. He was gunning for him, but he just wasn't getting the looks. So I felt like a lot of that had to do with the fact that the AR went out early. But I love the fact that we brought back a lot of guys who have proven themselves, even if not like on the Pro Bowl level. But I like the way they've restructured things because they're not stuck in like a lot of long-term deals. There was a lot of like 2-year, 3-year deals that were relatively, I don't want to say conservative, but like I felt they were well structured. We'll see how it turns out. Like I said, this is definitely a show me year for Chris Ballard. This is his 8th year with us, and he's only made the postseason once, 0 division titles in 8 seasons when we were like a shoe-in for like a decade, it feels like, with Manning and Luck. But yeah, 0 division titles, like 1 playoff win, and you got all this money in your running back and Jonathan Taylor, DeForest Buckner, Zaire Franklin now is getting a nice deal. So like, it's definitely a show me year. Like, the guys got to produce, yes, but at some point the management's got to be held accountable too. And that's long been the conversation around Indy, is like, when is Chris Ballard going to finally be on the hot seat? Because it feels like, before it was the whole Pagano-Grigson drama and all that, and having to wade through that mess, and then the coaching carousel, and then the quarterback carousel, the never ending, like we hadn't had the same starting quarterback for however many seasons in a row now since Luck. So I feel like we got our guy now, as long as we can keep him healthy, let the rest of the chips fall where they may. I really like the fact they brought back Kenny Moore. A lot of people don't like that. I'm a huge Kenny Moore fan. This is up on the screen right now, March 12th, 2024, or March 14th, or no, where'd it go? I just lost it. But there it was. Re-signed Kenny Moore to a 3-year contract. Yep. So that was one of my favorite deals because I'm a big Kenny Moore fan. I see him out at the track a lot. He's the same height as me, but he's obviously way more built. So I'm a big fan of the smaller dudes who still make a name for themselves in the NFL. And he's one of those dudes. He's one of those unsung heroes. I think he had a game last year. I don't remember which one it was, but he had 2 pick sixes in a single game. Like, that stuff is unheard of. 2 pick sixes in a single game. So having guys back like that is great. There's still a lot of questions, I feel like, around kind of that cornerback safety area, because that part of our defense seems to get exposed a lot. I feel like our D-line is great, in a great spot. I definitely side with Chris Ballard on the first round draft. I know you said before we get to the draft, but that was one of my favorite picks, is the fact that, we were hoping to get a tight end dude. We're hoping to get one of the star tight end or receiver guys, but then to see Latu fall all the way, they're like, oh man, we're about to get the best defensive player in the draft, and we sure enough did. So, and then the guy goes out and gets a horseshoe tatted on his shoulder before he even got pinned to the paper, like before the ink is even. Before he even got the pen in his hand, he's got a tat of the horseshoe on his shoulder. I'm like, all right, we got our dude right here.
Dude,
this might be the next Mathis Freeney type of situation. So we'll see.
You can only hope, right? I mean, dude, when I was in high school, I aspired to be those guys. I mean, those were insane players right there on that Manning, era, Dungy area. But yeah, man, I'll tell you right now, this pickup, I'm very happy with Brock Bowers for the Raiders.
Right. That was, man, I was so hopeful. I was so hopeful we would be able to pull that off.
This was my original guy. This is the guy that I was like, I didn't think the Raiders were going to do that, just because, and don't get me wrong, I am not mad, but I just didn't think, because I was thinking to myself, okay, Christian Wilkins, beast. Okay. He's a Raider now. Okay. You already got Max Crosby. This is awesome.
Right.
You put a dude like Latu on the other side. Like, we're talking. So I was like, bro, and I'm a SC guy, fight on, and I hate UCLA, but this guy terrorized SC for years, and I'm like, dude, this guy, I know what he's got. This guy's a freaking nature. Like, this guy's amazing. So I was like, let's go. We didn't pick him. That's okay, because when I saw Brock Bowers, I was like, okay, no, okay, no, we're good. Like,
yep.
Never mind. Okay, we're fine. And I was like, could he go second? And I was like, no, there's no way in hell he's gonna be picked up in the next few picks. And what happens? He gets picked up, and boy, did he go to a place that needed him so. I mean, oh my gosh.
Yep.
This pickup was amazing. I loved this pick. Look at this, 23.5 sacks over the last 2 seasons. The guy is an amazing athlete. Also, just brushing ahead real quick. I mean, Adonai Mitchell, another beast here. This guy out of Texas, a wide receiver, another weapon, man, for AR. I love that. This dude right here, man, Goncalves. I always butcher his name. Okay, I always do. Goncalves is how I pronounce his name. I don't know how everybody's name is actually pronounced, but this dude. This is a really big dude, man, in the 3rd round. I honestly thought he'd be a 2nd rounder, possibly 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So we kind of fell right to where I thought he was going to. But this guy's actually very, very, very solid tackle, man. Tanner Bordellini, another dude. I love this guy. Big boy. I guess, him along with Goncalves, I feel like they said there's a lot of developmental stuff, but that's what NFL coaches are for, right? So these guys, I think, can be developed well. Anthony Good, later on, guys, Anthony Good, I know I've seen this guy because obviously I'm a Pac-12, rest in peace, Pac-12 guy who's seen a lot of the West Coast team. I'm so pissed off. But anyway, so this guy right here is just a monster. I think he is a very, very, very good player that kind of went under the radar. punt returner, a utility guy possibly. This guy, I think he'll make the roster for sure. Jalen Carlisle, this guy, another guy, later round guy, but can he help out the linebacking core? Can he be a plug-in later? Can he sit under? Obviously, we know who is there, okay, in these spots, but can he be built up? And I'm sure that's the hope. Jalen Simpson, safety out of Auburn, Micah Abram, corner out of Marshall, and and Laulu, of course, out of Oklahoma, big defensive tackle. And like I said, some of these guys will make the roster, while the majority of the earlier guys will. The later guys, who knows? They might be practice teamers, roster depending. But as of right now, the Colts, it's wide open. They got a lot of, this is it. Training camp is where you prove yourself, and we'll find out, man.
Yep.
But what did you think about the draft this year? I mean, you already started, but with the rest of the picks and obviously Latu, how did you feel about it, man?
I've always, a lot of people give Ballard a hard time, and deservedly so. Like I said, we know we speak in terms of wins and losses and playoffs and titles. So that's the ultimate metric that you're going to be measured by. But I've loved his approach to the draft every season. The Colts have a great media squad. They put out this thing, this YouTube series called With the Next Pick. And they go through all the behind the scenes stuff with their scouts and how they're talking with these guys. And they'll kind of show the individual stories and paths of these dudes who eventually do get picked by the Colts. And it's pretty awesome what they go through. They really put these guys through the ringer, which is why I personally liked it. I know a lot of people are like, oh man, he shouldn't be cussing on TV and this and that and the other, but he was like dropping F-bombs when people were being critical of like A.D. Mitchell's pick. Cause I guess he had some stuff swirling around about him and kind of his attitude and this, that, and the other. It's like, dude, we tear these dudes down. Like that's our job. Like y'all need to understand that these are kids. Like, and we're here to like, bring them up into the league. But they're like, give this kid a break, man. So I kind of love that fire from him. But yeah, I really like his approach. I felt like he honestly, for me, everyone likes to grade the draft, which you can't give a draft grades until at least like 2-3 seasons down the road. Then you can go back and be like, oh, yeah, that was an A+ draft. Or, oh, no, that was a D or an F draft. So I always think it's kind of fun when people like to grade draft. So we'll see as far as like the picks go. I felt like he tried to fulfill all the needs that we really needed. The only one that still is a big question mark for me and that we haven't really addressed in free agency, and it's just going to be kind of, who we got on the squad now, is that kind of which we did attempt to address in the later rounds, but I felt like it was more of a maybe one of the earlier round issues with like safety and corner and that kind of thing. Because again, we've had issues with trying to fill holes there as the season wears on, and inevitably dudes go down with injuries. It's always a war of attrition. Your best, I always say your health is your wealth. Your best skill set is your availability type of thing. So that's what I really think it's going to come down to. I really miss having guys around. Like we only have him for the season, but when we signed Stephon Gilmore, like Gilly Lock being on the squad, he single-handedly, when he was with us 2 seasons ago, he single-handedly won us 2 games at least. Like he had an interception to save the game in the end zone. It seemed like the same play happened twice where he picked it off in the end zone when the other team was about to score for the game-winning drive. So having difference makers on the team like that has been critical. So I feel like Latu's going to be one of those for sure. I feel like AD is going to be great competition for that wide receiver room. And like you said, with the offensive line, defensive tackle picks, those I think are going to be sleeper picks that a lot of people, because again, I credit to Ballard and his staff, man, they know how to find these guys one way, shape, or form. They figure out like who the sleepers are. And so, we like to make fun of them for picking these dudes out of random schools that may not be as well known as some others. Like for instance, Darius Leonard, who, sadly didn't have the career in the way he wanted to. But to have him come into the league and do what he did and just start tearing it up was nuts. Nobody thought he was going to do that when he came into the league. So we'll see. I am cautiously optimistic. I think the number one key, though, is Anthony Richardson maintaining his health and then just making sure that we're able to fill those holes as they inevitably come up throughout the season. So, yeah, I feel like he's addressed most of the needs. I still got question marks about that secondary, though. So we'll see how that pans out.
Well, man, I'm telling you, loving it, loving this, the flow, man. We've just gone through this, man. It's been fun. Let's get to this season, man. So we talked about everything. I mean, my gosh, we went from last season, we went to this season, well, to the off season, went to the draft. Here we are now, man. And as I'm telling everybody, we are staring at what could or could not be a very special, or just to forget it. Like, I don't want to talk about it no more season, so depending. So here we go, man. This is it. This is the schedule. The AFC South, we don't know what we're going to get. Jacksonville, they are such a wild card because you have no idea what they're going to be every year. It is the weirdest thing with that team, I'm telling you. The Titans,
Yep.
I mean, there's been so many seasons the Titans just had every chance, and boy, do they just know how to blow it. So is this new regime is this time to be hopeful for those guys? Is it gonna finally happen? I don't know. You can take a look at you guys, which have been they can say the same thing. Is this gonna come together this year for you guys? And then you have the Texans, who D'Amico Ryan turned this team into a freaking powerhouse within 1 year. I'm loving what I'm seeing from those guys. So, I mean, you got all this on top of that. What do we have here? It looks like the let's take a quick look here over here. Okay, so what do we have? The AFC, it looks like the AFC East I see in there, and I also see the NFC. Oh, the NFC North is in there, and then you got some outlier teams. So, looking at all the schedule right now in front of you, obviously, I love it. We're a lot of the same. When I was younger, I was, draft grade, yeah. And then you learn, like, okay, no, that's not how you do it, And also, picking a record, okay, I always think, too, records are fun. Okay, I like to give ranges now of what they could possibly look like, depending on.
All right, yeah.
But overall, tell us, man, looking at this season, how are you feeling? I think that is the biggest thing. How are you feeling? Is your confidence feeling? Are you up and up? Are you feeling like, you know what? Let's just see. I'm not quite sure with this team. Or are you like, I don't know about this year? So I don't know, man. Let us know. What are your thoughts going into the season?
So last year was like automatically for me was going to be a throwaway season. Like I said, I don't care if he threw 40 interceptions and only 2 touchdowns. As long as Anthony Richardson had that experience of playing in all those games, that was going to be key. So we're still missing that. So that's still going to be my outlook going into this season. I don't want to say it's a throwaway season. It's like I said, it's a show me year for Chris Ballard. So we got to see something out of this season, whether that's, making a wild card game. We got to make, I think, postseason or bust for us. Like whether we just make it to the wild card or what have you. Division title would be great. I think it's going to be tough against Houston. So I actually don't see us winning that season opener as much as I would love to win our home openers. We just don't have a great week 1 record. It's been really bad and over like the past decade or so. We've just not done well with our season openers. So I have us losing to the Texans. But I think we'll get to 10. I think we can get to 10 wins. I think we can beat Green Bay. Even in Lambeau, I feel like we can pull that off. I'm pretty confident against Chicago. Pittsburgh, I think, is going to be a really well fought game, but I think they're going to get us at home. Yeah, I got a bad feeling about that one. And then I don't think we break the curse in Jacksonville. Like you said, like they're tough to read, but I feel like out the gate, they're going to be firing on more cylinders than what we'll be firing on just yet. Tennessee, I'm not worried about. Sorry, Tennessee. I'm just, until you show me something different, I think we're going to sweep y'all this year. So I'm going to go ahead and chalk those 2 Tennessee games, both away and home, as wins. Vikings, again, that might be a new kind of curse for us with the whole like historic meltdown that we had. I don't know if that was last season or 2 seasons ago. I like to forget that anyway, but I don't think we beat them this year either at Minnesota. I think Buffalo gets us back for the games that we got against them because we embarrassed them pretty well a couple times ago. So I count those as 2 losses, but I don't think we go on a 3-game win streak. I think we bounce back against the Jets, regardless of how Rodgers is playing. I don't care. I think prime time, you're about to see a special game. If Anthony Richardson is healthy and has played with any kind of relative consistency, I feel like that New York game might be a coming out for Richardson on prime time. So I've kind of got that one circled this season, that November 17th game at New York. That one should be special. Detroit, I feel like that one might be kind of a letdown because you're going to be coming off a primetime game and it's not going to have the same hype. And I feel like we might be letting down our guard a little bit. So I've got that one as a loss. I feel like we could still get New England and Denver, especially with that being on either side of the bye week. I feel like we go into the bye week pretty strong, come out of it pretty strong. Again, I feel like we handle Tennessee. So I actually have us from the New England game on out going on a 5-game win streak to get us into the postseason. So, like I said, I feel like we're gonna take care of Tennessee. Giants, I feel like, will be kind of a tough one. And then Jacksonville, that one I'm not 100% on. I'm just gonna say we're gonna win the last game of the season because I don't want a repeat of the 2 past previous seasons. So that's just me being hopeful. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'd say 10-7, maybe 9-6, but I would kind of be more on the double-digit wins camp. So we'll see how that pans out. But that's me.
Oh, I'm loving it, man. Dude, that was awesome, man. I mean, look, I really do feel that could be very accurate. The Colts, I mean, it all depends. AR's got to be healthy, and the team has to be able to deliver. I mean, look, man, that was a lot of fun, man. We have reached the end. Obviously, you know this segment so well down here. This is a lot of fun at the end, as we know. Okay. There are 3 teams that you love to hate in this division. Obviously, you've already talked about the Titans, Jacksonville, and the Texans. Well, with that said, man, we got those 3 teams that your team will be playing this year, and you tell us how you think those other 3 teams are going to do this season. You already told us all about your Colts. So how do you think those other 3 teams are going to do this season? And on top of that, it's okay to sprinkle a little on top and tell us how you really feel. So with that said, Justin Law, take it to him.
All right. I gotta start off with the Texans because I think they are the biggest threat. They are the most definitely worthy team of the AFC South. Just with Stroud at the helm, he's clearly shown that he is here. Like he's going to be one of those guys, one of those marquee quarterbacks, and it's going to be a great rivalry, hopefully for seasons and seasons to come. So I think they end up sadly winning the division again this year. And I think they get 12 games, 12 wins heading into the postseason. Jacksonville, like you said, I'm not quite really sure if I should believe in them or not because Lawrence has shown flashes of being an incredible quarterback. Like he sliced and diced this a couple times already. So we'll see how that kind of pans out. I'm gonna go ahead and say they're gonna be kind of more in our camp where maybe they get to 9 or 10 wins, but I think they might actually again because I don't really know what they are yet. So I'm gonna say maybe 8 or 9 wins for them. And then Tennessee, again, I'm not a believer, man. I'm sorry. They're gonna have to show me, and it's got to start with beating us first. But yeah, again, it's just me talking crap. But honestly, I really don't see that they've got what I don't think they have the pieces in place to do what they need to do. So I give them 4 or 5 wins.
And that is how you stick it to him. Justin Lahr. There you go, man. I mean, hey, look, Tennessee, man, it's true. They were one of my colleagues said they were the worst first seed of all time a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
yep,
it's true. And don't get me wrong, man. I know we're talking to Davison next, dear friend of mine, Mr. Davison Crooks, the host of Fast Break here at iSports Radio. He's a big Titans fan, but it's true, man. They have to show something, man. They have Vrabel as the head coach and still couldn't do so. I want to see this team do something. And the last time they were super relevant? I mean, Super Bowl in 2000, I think, when they lost the Rams, Eddie George by like 1 yard. I mean, that's the last time they were actually like an extremely scary team. So, I mean, let's see. But, dude, that was awesome, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Lahr. Dude, I'm so happy to have had you back on the show, man. Please give this man a follow at Mad Drums down there on X. This dude is awesome. Any last words you want to say, man, to all the Colts fans out there? Anything else you want to add before we're out of here today, man?
Nah, man, just shout out to you, Larry B. I appreciate the shout out and invite me back on the show. This is a lot of fun, man. I love talking sports, just talking crap about my teams, and looking forward to the season, man. And I'm glad to still see you doing your thing and growing the IE Sports Radio brand. So I want you to keep it going strong, man. This is awesome. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, but thanks again, man, for everything. Once again, Justin Lahr, show him some love, give him a follow at Mad Drums. Thanks again for everything, brother. And that is going to do it. So with that said, guys, that will do it here in Indy. Next up, one more stop. We're heading to the place that Justin was like, yeah, I don't believe you. Heading over to Tennessee to finish off today, to finish off the AFC South. With that said, guys, you are listening to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days, AFC weekday number 3, AFC South day, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Be right back talking Titans after this.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU, I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, football fans. Well, here we go, guys. This is the tail end of our AFC South day. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, man. This has been a fun show so far. AFC week here on 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days. We are in day number 3, just finishing up the AFC South. We started things off today talking about them Texans with our brand new Houston sports show, man. The host of our brand new Houston sports show, Space Out Sports, our boy Trevor Hour, talking about them Texans. Then we went and talked Jags, we talked Colts, and here we are now at the tail end of this show talking about the team that, oh man, this team is they're the roller coaster. There's no other way. They are the roller coaster of the NFL, man. And trust me, it's not a fun ride. This is a miserable ride because they're so close sometimes, and sometimes they're like, oh my goodness. The headaches for this fan base, I'll tell you, I don't know. But I'll tell you right now, I am optimistic about their future. Made some moves. Let's see what they got, man. To help me talk about them Tennessee Titans, man, well, we have none other than the host of, one of the hosts, one half of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio. Catch them Sundays are on a little bit of a break right now because basketball season is over and they're just catching their breath. But man, Davison Crooks and D-Lock, man, they do their thing. Darius Locke and Davison Crooks, they do an amazing job Sundays all throughout basketball season at 7 p.m. Central Time. Obviously, great show. And, of course, follow him at Spawn4288 on X and his other podcast he does. Really cool thing, man. The Crooks Process on Instagram. Give him a follow there, man. Welcoming none other than our boy, Mr. Davison Crooks. What's going on, man? How you doing today, brother?
Doing good, Larry. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Welcome aboard, man. Glad that it's definitely one of those things where, oh man, we end up talking football and it just snowballs, man. And that's what this whole weekend has been. Talking tons of football with everybody to do all of these shows, and hey, that's what it's been, and that's why I know it's going to end up being here as well, man. We
Yes,
can talk
sir.
days, and these Titans they're something else, man. But we're going to get into that today, and let's go ahead and jump right into it, Davidson. So let's get to it. We got to talk about last season, okay? So I know everyone that this is always not the most popular thing going back to last year, but jumping back into the Titans last year, man. Look at this. A loss that I can't explain. Tough loss here to New Orleans to start the year off on the road. But then you come back home and you get a nice overtime victory over the Chargers. Really, really, really good team. They also have themselves a down year, but man, you guys get that victory in overtime. Awesome. Then you head over to Cleveland and it was an absolute beatdown, man. You guys you couldn't buy points in that game, man. One field goal was the whole story for you guys, and they scored the rest. However, you guys would then host the Cincinnati Bengals and get a nice big victory with the same exact score. You couldn't do nothing against the Browns the week before, but this week the Cincinnati Bengals couldn't do nothing against you guys. Then you head on over to Indy. Gets a close loss there. And nearly the same exact score the very next week to the Baltimore Ravens, another close loss. Then you head into the bye week. A victory over Atlanta would be nice because you'd hope to get on the right track, but unfortunately, another 3-game skid, man. Well, sorry, this was a 3-game skid. Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, and Jacksonville, just 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 all on the road too. Just bad road trip. Then you go back home, you get a nice victory over the Carolina Panthers. A tough overtime loss there to the Colts. You head back on the road. You defeat a Miami Dolphins team who was absolutely on fire, man. This was a tough victory, and you guys earned it. And then another 3-game skid, this time 2 at home versus Houston and Seattle. And then one more time versus Houston. You play them for, 3 times in 2 weeks, where you guys would this time lose pretty dang bad to those guys on the road. And then end off the season with a victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that was it, man. No playoffs, no nothing. That was a rough one. I know, Davison, you're probably going, why do we have to look at that again? I know, my apologies. But Davison, talk to us, man. What was every raw emotion as a Titans fan last year?
Can we go back a little bit, Larry?
By all means, man. Rewind. Go ahead. Hit the rewind.
All right. Last year, the gentleman you did the preview with last year, and while when you did a show last year and stuff like that, he did a great job. One thing he failed to mention in his preview for last year's team, he forgot to mention John Robinson getting let go that November.
That's right.
So y'all look at me. Let's go back a little bit. John Robinson got let go after that Eagle game when Philly beat down the Titans. That Tuesday, John Robinson got let go. So that gets the ball rolling, into this past season. Okay. And then, they hired Rand Carthon from the San Francisco 49ers. So you come into that offseason with really no cap space, and you had to cut some guys. You had to cut Taylor Lewan, Zach Cunningham, and I think a couple other guys as well. You finally got Kevin Byard to take a pay cut, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And then you flip that money to sign Andre Dillard, tackle from Philadelphia, who was a former first-round pick. And it's like, And then, the other moves you made, I really weren't significant because you saw how the record was. And then, and I said this to myself, when they made the move for DeAndre Hopkins, when they were going to try to run it back with everybody, I thought, okay, let the chips fall where they may. If you can try and make one final push with Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill under center, all that good stuff, patch up the offensive line a little bit. Hopkins at wide receiver, maybe Traylon Burks take a leap, Westbrook Akine, Kyle Phillips in the fold. Maybe, I don't know, maybe something happened. You know, maybe something will happen. And then, of course, you had the rookie Tajay Spears, Peter Skoronsky, granted drafted Will Levis in the second round. You know, we'll see. Well, Larry, that first game, New Orleans,
Oh,
it could have went either way.
it could have.
And another thing, offensive corner Todd Downing was gone, and now you had God, what's his name? Names escape me. It's on tip of my tongue right now. The former offensive coordinator. It'll come to me in a second, but they got a new offensive coordinator
What's
who
his
is
name?
Vrabel's Bodie. I don't got.
Oh,
Let me pull up my phone real quick. But in the
I get you
meantime,
right. The tip of the tongue stuff. I know. I hate it too, man. What was his name? My goodness. But yeah, no. Well, to piggyback off that real quick, couple comment. No, you're absolutely right, man. It's crazy to think, man. All this just started to snowball in the last couple of years. It really did. This kind of turned into what it's turned into now.
Tim Kelly.
Tim Kelly. There you go. Tim Kelly.
So Vrabel got his boy Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator after Todd Downing got let go. Thank goodness. So you come to the season, okay, Hopkins is in, Tannehill maybe last right, maybe last night, Derrick Henry, maybe last right, whatever. But, we're just going to see where the chips may fall. That first game, it could have went either way, if we're being real. And, I don't know, since Tajay played in New Orleans last year, I don't know if they're trying to get him more involved, but, there's like a stat out there. If Derrick Henry gets like a certain amount of carries in games, the Titans have a very high 500 record. When he does it, it's like barely 500. So, if you look at the stats of that game, Henry didn't get his little touches, against a Saints team that, as we saw, is kind of like so-so. So that first game, it could have went either way. The game they probably should have won, and they didn't. Then you come in the next week, they beat the Chargers, and we kind of saw how they went this season. There was this up and down injuries to them, all that stuff, in which their coach got fired later on. And then the Cleveland game, that defensive line just ate up the Titans' offensive line. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's a game that Priest Karonsky, the first game he missed because he had emergency appendix surgery. So
that's right.
So you had that. Andre Dillard, at this point, it's kind of looks like a lame duck life tackle. And you paid on all this money, which is still baffling me that Rand Carthon and Vrabel agreed to do a 3-year deal with him. That still baffles me. And he was getting his lunch ate by Myles Garrett. So much so that in the post game, he admitted this to reporters that Myles Garrett is just showing him how to defend him and stuff like that. Basically like a slap in the face. And us and a lot of Titans fans kind of saw that as like, damn, dude, if he's telling you this, then you cooked.
Yeah.
If a defensive player is basically showing you up like that, then you can't make it in the NFL.
No.
You can't. And then you come into next week, you beat down Cincinnati, in which they always kind of started slow, and Burrow had the injury and all that stuff. And you came out pretty good on that one. Then Indy played well to the point, but just like Hopkins played very well in that game, but just never got there. Then the London game, and you kind of question Vrabel's, choice that like, why did you leave so late to get to London?
That was dumb.
But granted the game was close, but Tannehill goes out in injury. You put Malik Willis in this situation back behind the bad offensive line. And I'll always defend Malik Willis in this. I always think he got bad coaching with some of these guys in the Titans. And I think, a conversation needs to be had. Like, can some of these coaches now in the NFL adjust to certain guys? Because you always got, the thing it is, like, you always got to force these guys to come in to force to play your style of ball, and then you wonder why these guys flame out. Why you just put in best key situations and just ride with it, and then work on other stuff later on. But I think, with Willis, you're going to throw into a situation. The kid is mobile. He can run. Got a nice arm. Get him out of pocket. Get him in situations that he's comfortable with. Instead of just kind of having big back there and be a statue behind a bad offensive line. It just makes sense. But they lose that game. They're trying to throw it at the goal line with Willis like multiple times. Nothing stuck. And I'm thinking like, damn, dudes who run RPO or Derrick Henry and Willis or something like that, or Tajay, something. And you couldn't get the game to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So you had that right there. Then you had the bye week, and then with Tannehill still out, you had the debut for Will Levis against Atlanta. And I'll admit to you, Larry, he played very great, very, very great.
He did.
Yeah. The deep balls were perfect to D Hop, NWI. You couldn't script a better game. Some things he got, we saw he had to work on, but he played great. For a debut like that, you can't ask for nothing more than that. And then you get to the Thursday night game against Pittsburgh. Those left tackle issues popped up again. You're going against that Pittsburgh defense, Dillard, Jalen Duncan. Petit Fair gets hurt. It's just kind of like they started tumbling at this point, what you brought up. Pittsburgh was no world beaters, but I mean, you gotta play tough. And then, Levis played all right, but some throws he made is like, you lucky it didn't get picked off.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. I thought that whole season was kind of like that, man. It was just oh my gosh, one crazy thing after another for this team, and realistically, man, I mean, the team is they're there. They had lots of opportunities in so many of these games. I mean, my goodness, it's so cliche, but Davison, 3 or 4 different plays in so many of those games, you guys would have been a playoff team again, So I mean, it's just crazy. That's what I'm saying. The roller coaster, man. This team has just been a roller coaster, man. So let's get into this offseason real quick, brother, because I want to talk about some of these pickups, man. Big thing here is obviously, who would you say is one of the biggest? I mean, look at this, man. Recently, got agreed terms with Jamal Adams just recently, a couple days ago. But in the early offseason, you guys got Brian Callahan now as the head coach, Jesse Minter, defensive coordinator, Nick Holtz now is the offense coordinator. You guys got all these signings here. You got Nick Folk, signed him. Sebastian Joseph, he signed as well. Leroy Watson, cool. You guys got a trade there. So I mean, just all kinds of things, man. Tyler Boyd, Shaquille Brown, Marlon Davidson. I mean, you guys got some solid pickups, man. We will get to the draft in a few moments, but other than the draft, what were your biggest pickups and also possibly biggest departures or moves? Like, what are you doing, or moves that you were happy with? What did you think about the offseason this year?
To go back to the schedule real quick, that last game against the Jaguars, which they won, the writing was kind of on the wall with Derrick Henry, Tannehill, that is going to be their last ride. And after, they made it, there's going to be those decisions, those guys will be gone. It's come out, this past week that Henry could have been traded to Baltimore mid-season for a 4th-round pick that could have been turned to a 3rd if Henry met certain parameters. So you're kind of looking like this, and I think it's probably a call for management up top to keep Henry all year, to sell tickets, all that stuff. But you kind of look at it, transfer to the offseason. Could have more moves been made if they trade Derrick Henry for a 4th-round pick, then that would convert it to a 3rd? That's a question to be had there. I mean, I'm glad Derrick stayed all year. I was happy. But, sometimes, when the season's lost like that, you kind of got to look forward to the future.
Right. What are we doing now, and what are we going to do to get better?
And then now you kind of look at it, get to the offseason. When free agency opened, they signed Bernard Pollard. I said, okay, it's Good signing. You know, I ain't think running back like a first priority for us. But, you know, they turn around inside Lori Cushenberry from the Denver Broncos. You know, the center from NAM, former LSU center,
Yes.
for a 4-year deal. I
Mhm.
like that move a lot. No shade to Aaron Brewer, but that dude's like 5'10 and 280. And, you know, he got a nice deal for Miami, but it's just like his run blocking is fine, but the pass blocking, you know, he get pushed around a lot, and that didn't help whoever was quarterback right behind there this past season. Willis, Tannehill, or Will Levis. It didn't help none of those guys. And now you get a bigger guy like 6'4", 300 pounds. You ain't gonna get some guy to be moved off the line so easy like that. And then, you know, signing Cheeto Awuzie from the Bengals to be your one you starting corners. Like the move. You need another corner. Caleb Farley has not panned out at all with this team. You know, unfortunately last year,
No.
you know, he lost his dad to that house explosion in North Carolina. The injuries since he's been at Virginia Tech will be real. And just kind of been a combination of things, and he really never panned out. Um, if you can't just scroll down just a little bit, you know, and on top of that, you know, the Brian Callahan hire. And to touch on that real quick, I don't think Vrabel was going to get let go. And hear me on this. If some of y'all hearing this, but some of this in Titans world, the story is that Vrabel wouldn't be let go, but he had to make certain adjustments to kind of modernize it to get to modern NFL style. Him and Amy Armstrong, the owner, had the discussion, and what turned out, you know, Vrabel got let go. So some of y'all wondering why Vrabel got let go. Some of these national media folks saying, why did they let go Mike Vrabel? And I know Mike Vrabel's a national type of dude, but you kind of, you know, talk to the local people and report and stuff like that. That's what happened. You know, he didn't want modernize to the NFL, and he want to keep some of his buddies hired. Nothing wrong with that, but sometimes you got to look out for business instead of personal. And that's what happened with Vrabel. And, you know, that's why you see Brian Callahan in the fold now. You know, he brought Nick Holtz. He brought Denard Wilson from the Baltimore Ravens, DB's coach, the defensive coordinator, you know, for his squad. So it's a whole new staff here. Barely any leftovers from the Vrabel administration. So it's a whole new staff, a whole new mindset, a whole new, you know, style that's going to fit to the modern NFL. That Brian Callahan said that he's going to try to copy what they did in Cincinnati, in which, you know, the head coach was calling plays and the offensive corner will help playing throughout the week. Same thing's going to be happening here. New offensive corner here in Tennessee is going to, you know, help game plan all the stuff all week, but Callahan will be calling the plays each and every Sunday. So it's going to be new style. You know, Will Levis in the helm. You signed also Calvin Ridley into the fold to help Will Levis as well to go along with DeAndre Hopkins. And then you brought up, you know, like Tyler Boyd. So you got those three guys there.
Oh, yeah.
Saw the past 3 years in Cincinnati with Chase, Higgins, and Boyd. Now you see that same thing here in Tennessee, you know, to go along, you know, some of the other guys they, you know, brought in like Sadiq Charles, who may be competing for a right guard spot. You know, Kenneth Murray at linebacker, you know, didn't work out with San Diego. I'm not San Diego, LA.
I know I call him San Diego all the time, Davison. It's okay.
You know, who didn't work out well with LA. We'll see what he does with Denard Wilson. You know, brought back Marlon Davidson. I think the other big signing was get L'Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs. And also, let's go back to the Derrick Henry thing.
Yeah.
You know, usually draft picks and stuff like that make over these other moves with all this cap space because you came in a lot of cap space this offseason. Now, you know, you kind of wish you had this pick. Maybe you could have done something else. Could you done something else? You know, it always make you wonder. But getting Pollard, getting Christian Berry, getting Ridley on the offensive side of the ball is going to greatly help out Will Levis. That's the main thing.
And that's what it's all about.
Yes. And getting Snead, Chido Awuzie, Kenneth Murray, as is recording, he signed Jamal Malice a few days ago. We'll see how that works out with them. But, and as it's recorded, they may be still looking at Justin Simmons out in free agency. So we'll see how these moves shake out for them. They did let go of Andre Dillard, which is just like the best move for everybody involved.
I think everybody liked that, huh?
And, I like what they did. National media, they're giving them props on it. But if you're everybody's saying you got to help with the quarterback, heck, I help with the quarterback. You got these moves right there. So I like what they did. And they still got enough cap space to do other things, as it's recording. So we'll see.
That's without a doubt, man. Beautiful analysis, by the way, man. I'm loving the analysis. I'm loving the things you're bringing, man. So let's go ahead and jump on into this draft, man. Because wow, another one. I remember when you guys drafted Eric Fisher. It's just you can't seem to. It's weird. The Titans usually always go, well, not always, but there has been some good offensive linemen picked up in the first round, and they've worked out pretty well. Unfortunately, just couldn't put together with the rest of the offensive line for I don't know, for whatever reason. But now you get another one, man, another big boy out of Alabama, J.C. Latham. The guy is a monster among men. This guy is definitely going to be a solid athlete in the NFL, and really excited to see him make his way over to the Tennessee Titans, man. But great pickup there in the first round, 7th overall. Then the second round, well, you go big boy on the offensive side, you go big boy on the defensive side, man. T'Vondre Sweat. This dude is one of my favorites, defensive lineman myself. I love this dude. I love his ability to get off guys, to shed blocks. He puts dudes in the backfield. He is a hell of an athlete, man. Really, really surprised he fell to the second round. I thought he might be a first or second rounder. I didn't think he was going to be a second rounder. I thought he might get picked up somewhere in the late first round, but he fell to you guys. This was a really good pickup here. Also, you guys would, in the fourth round, Cedric Gray, inside linebacker out of UNC, and Jarvis Brownlee Jr., another one who I thought would be a little bit earlier, but out of Louisville. Then you get over to these later round guys, Jaquan Jackson, wide receiver out of Tulane, and James Williams, safety out of Miami. Jalen Harrell, edge rusher out of Michigan, a national champion. Kind of weird. I don't know how he fell so dang far back. But regardless, I think every one of these guys has like a legitimate chance of making the 53-man roster, especially in this new regime. What did you think about the Titans draft this year?
I liked it. I know a lot of Titans fans, they kind of like saying Joe Alt or bust, all that stuff. And because, when no left tackle, signed it, the first couple ways of free agency, I was like, okay, you looking at a tackle in the draft, either first or second round. But it's like people like saying like Joe Alt or bust, Joe Alt or bust. And then, you kind of hearing stories like, okay, the Titans, ran Carl Front and them like elite neighbors. That started coming up, Roma Duze, why not draft the other wide receiver going along with this crew? Won't hurt. And plus, with Ridley and Hopkins, those guys are 30, 31. You kind of, if Will Levis pans out, you need that young receiver to kind of work with Will Levis for years to come. So, receiver's not, totally off the board there. But, we all got picked, when the Chargers hired Harbaugh and, and you kind of figure, how his style and stuff like that, I kind of figure either like link them all somewhere there, or maybe receiver will go there, and then we went all. And J.C. Latham was probably either the one or two top tackles in the board, and I like the pick. As an Alabama fan, I love it. Latham did play on that right side for most of his time in Alabama, but he is going to be converted to left tackle. And another thing about the coaching and all this stuff, the hiring and stuff like that, Brian Callahan got his dad, Bill Callahan, to come down with him from Cleveland. And we see how he has done with that Cleveland offensive line. So, and for some of y'all Titans fans, y'all probably follow these folks. But like ADZ Sports, Teron Davenport, Jim White, like rookie minicamp, they show him videos of Latham with the sled and stuff like that with Bill Callahan and how he's moving and stuff like that. If you get time, Larry, check the videos out. Look up JC Latham on Twitter or X. See how he worked in that sled. See how doing his drills. I think this guy's hungry to prove people that he can play left tackle. And if that pans out, that's like one less thing for Will Levis to worry about there on that left side. I think Skoronski will be a great left guard. If Latham can be that great left tackle in the line of guys like Brad Hopkins, Michael Roos, Taylor Lewan, if Latham could be that great one, I think Sky will be the limit with this squad this year. And then go to the second round. TeAndre Sweat, a guy like you mentioned, maybe should have been a first round pick.
Yeah,
but his issues off the field maybe dropped him down. And top on that, it's come out that why it's come out that he didn't really take his first 4 years at Texas very seriously until this past year. So
that's not good.
So you have to wonder if that mentality's there. I'm pretty sure it is, but if us Titans fans go back and remember Isaiah Wilson, a guy that wasn't real serious about football like that, and he was gone early in his rookie year. So Sweat hasn't been in mini camps and stuff like that this offseason. We'll see how he's going to come into training camp. There's already concerns about his weight, which I don't think shouldn't be an issue, but those stories are already out there already about TeAndre Sweat. If he pans out, hey, excellent. You need somebody else next to Jeffrey Simmons, because I hated losing Denico Autry to the Texans. That hurt me.
That's painful.
That hurt me when we signed with the Texans. And plus all the defensive signings they did. I say, God, they let Nico go to the Texans.
Oh, it's painful.
Excuse me.
Painful.
And then, so hopefully Sweat works out to kind of ease the mind of losing Nico to the Texans. That's the main thing for me for him. And then go to the fourth round. Cedric Gray, I think he'll be in the rotation for linebacker. Will he be in the starting position come week 1? I don't know. The linebacker group for the Titans ain't the strongest. So, if Kenny Murray and Cedric Gray work out, or Luke Gifford, Luke Gifford or Jack Gibby, whoever works out there, we'll see. But Cedric Gray, I think he'll be a good rotational piece and guy play special teams. Jarvis Brownlee, a guy they really starting to like, and I think he should make the 53-man roster, 56, whatever you want to call it, over some other guys like Eric Garrier or a couple other guys as well. So I think he'll probably stick. Jaquan Jackson is a real interesting one. And I think he'd be competing for a roster spot, but Kyle Phillips has been with the Titans for the past couple of years, but he has gone out with injuries, stuff like that. Jaquan Jackson, about the same build, but I think more explosive than Kyle Phillips. A guy that you probably put in scat back situations, receiver and stuff like that, kick return, all that. So, yeah, he's a 6th-round pick, but I think a guy who's probably going to stick as the returner, punt and kick returner, and you could do a lot of things with him as well. So don't be surprised, Titans fans, if y'all see Jaquan Jackson make this roster and Kyle Phelps is gone. And then the other 2 picks, James Williams, they said they try and make her to linebacker. We'll see how that works. But I see him as a practice squad guy at the end of it. Unless he have a hell of a camp in preseason.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Harrell kind of in the same boat. Edge rusher is not it's solid, but there's upgrades there. Harold Landry came back for the ACL, really came on real late in the season. Arden Key was okay, but this thing it's like room for improvement to be him to be better, with him. That's always kind of the thing with him. Like, you should be better than what you are.
Same thing with the Raiders a couple years back. Arden Key, yes.
So,
Yeah.
Year 2 with him, can he like push the extra gear to do something with this new defense style for the Titans?
Oh man, I'll tell you, I had to real quick just get this, man. I really want to take a look at this and look at this, man. JC Latham, this is courtesy of the Tennessee Titans of their mic'd up mini camp right here. JC Latham, let's take a look at this real quick, man. Look at this leg drive, man. Check this out, Davis.
Yes.
Check this out. It's working.
Yes.
Working. Look, I mean, my goodness. One more time. Just look at this leg drive, man. Come on. Gets up under it and goes.
Man, you baby.
Here it is. Beautiful explosion. Gets off the man. Just tosses the sled like it's not. See, that's what you want, man. That's the kind of guy you need him to give. Defensive linemen ain't little, man. You know what I mean? Defensive linemen are coming for you. So how do you defeat that? You come for them. And you got to have a big physical guy, man, that can get down. Lowest man wins. You saw that. He got nice and low, extended the hips. I mean, shot the arms, extended the hips. Just amazing job there, man. I'm looking forward to seeing this, man. And of course, you as an Alabama fan, you're going to see plenty of him throughout his years growing, man. I'm really excited for him playing in the NFL.
And then, that big Bill Callahan calls that thing, the sled, Big Bertha. And I think it weighs I think they said like 380 pounds. So for him to get under like that, to push it like that, and I see videos of him like down the line, for him, doing it one hand. Like one hand, like moving the sled one hand. And from the early reports saying that they can't get this dude off the field because he got that relentless effort. Is very exciting, for me and us of Titans fans. If that determination translates into the field and stuff like that, come week 1 against Chicago, oh baby, we're good.
Oh, looking forward to it, man. So let's get into this season, Davidson. We got plenty on last season. We got the draft. Now let's look at this season, man. This is going to be something where I hope. Oh, there's last season. So let's take a look at this season, man. We are staring, as I'm telling everybody this year, we're staring at what could be a special season. What couldn't be, we'll see. But looking right now, this is a wide open division. I know the Texans right now are definitely the favorite, but when it comes down to it, man, the Titans could you don't know what you're going to get with this team. I mean, you're facing this year the NFC North and the AFC East, I believe, and a couple outlier teams. And when you look at the schedule, Davidson, you don't got to give us a record or a range or anything if you don't want to. But let us know, man. When you look at the schedule, are you confident? What are you thinking with the Titans this year?
Well, last season, what we said earlier, when we saw how let the chips fall where they made, you kind of go back to last season with Houston and Indy. You had 2 rookie quarterbacks in C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson, and plus you had the Jaguars who did make the playoffs, but it was like a 500 record that they made it in. Granted, they beat the Chargers, and when the Chargers kind of wet themselves, and you kind of thought, okay, 2 rookie quarterbacks, you don't know how they're going to be. DeMeco Ryans in Houston, you don't know how they're going to be. New coaching staff of Indy, you didn't know how they're going to be. And then you kind of saw how things went. C.J. Stroud had a great rookie year. Anthony Richardson, when he was healthy, looked pretty solid. And the Jags, started off pretty decent, but it just kind of just went at the end.
Yeah.
Now you coming to this season, the moves that the Texans made, kind of really they're trying to push their chips in with CJ Stroud's contract. The Jags, they still kind of same kind of squad, but it's just kind of like, did y'all really improve anywhere? And then for the Colts, the only thing with them is it's kind of like, can Richardson stay healthy? So you combine that, and then the first week, you got going up to Chicago, play Caleb Williams and the Bears, and it's kind of like a question mark. You don't know how they're gonna look at week 1. You don't know how Caleb Williams is gonna be. He could come out, look out all world, or kind of struggle. Also, you playing former Titan Kevin Byard, who's signed with them. You know, how much, hype and energy he's going to have in that game against his former team, who they asked him to take a pay cut, and then they finally traded him away to Philly for late round picks. How salty, or I don't say salty, but how motivated he's going to be to play against them. So there's a lot of things right there. That game could go either way. How the offensive line is going to shake up with Chicago. See the growth of Darnell Wright. How's it going to look against Jeffrey Simmons and others? And all that. Their offensive weapons, they make big moves. Keenan Allen, drafting Roma Duze. Cole Kmet there as well. So it's going to be a real interesting matchup in Chicago. Then we do against the Jets, how Aaron Rodgers is going to look. This is the main question for them. The offensive line has struggled for the past 3 years for the Jets. How they going to look? I think the defense will be okay for the Jets. But I think all depends on Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that, how he looks. And all that. Plus, like I said, our new corners and new secondary and all that stuff, how we're going to look, in those first 3 weeks and 4 weeks, actually, if you look at it, against these offensive, minded teams. The growth for Jordan Love, and then going to Miami, Tua, with those guys down there, design Odell, what he has left in the tank, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, So in our first 4 games, I don't say pass happy, but the secondary is going to get a lot of work and see how they're going to look on this up with Denard Wilson's system.
Yo, yeah, man. This is gonna be exciting. I really think. I mean, look at it. You're right. First 4 games. That's the test right there. I mean, that is that into the bye week, and let's see if they can continue on. Hopefully, for the better throughout the rest of the season, man. This is gonna be a real fun season to take a look at. So, Davidson, we talked all about it, man. We got into last season. We got into the off season, the draft. We got to see a cool JC Latham video there, man. Up here working that sled. Obviously, talk about this season. Now, this is a little segment you're familiar with, obviously, called Stick It To 'Em at the very end of the segment, where we like to, give a little trash talk if you'd like to. Or, hey, we've had plenty. Good, fun, and respectful. However you'd like to trash talk and whatever. There are 3 other teams in this division you just love to hate, and it's always fun with that rivalry, man. The Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously the Houston Texans, and those Indianapolis Colts, man. Let us know, how do you think those 3 teams are going to do this season? And obviously, be professional, but let us know how you really feel about them. With that said, man, Davidson, stick it to them.
Man, where to begin? Let me go with the Colts first. If Anthony Richardson is not healthy for the Colts, then it's going to be another long season for them. And they lost Gardner Minshew. I know they signed Joe Flacco. But time is ticking on Joe Flacco, and all that. So if Richardson can't stay healthy, it's gonna be a long season for them. And all that. Sure. And then the offensive line kind of took a step back for them. You still always got questions about the defense for some odd reason. It's just like they're just kind of there. But all things kind of fall to Anthony Richardson if this team is gonna go. So I think, I'll be honest with you, just looking right now, I think they're probably the worst team in the division. Woo! Just my opinion. And then let me go to the Jaguars. They got Trevor Lawrence did get that contract extension. I couldn't tell you who's in the offensive line for them. I haven't even looked. Christian Kirk, he's been playing pretty solid for them, but somebody you can't depend to be that number 1 dude if you're gonna be real. Evan Ingram has been pretty decent for the Jags, but he's due for injury spell. Let's be real about that. The defense has been pretty solid. Only thing with Jaguars is like the Khan family. It seems like the mess with them, especially Tony Khan. Like that shoe's gonna drop with them sometime soon. But I think they'll be middle of the road, but I don't think they'll make the playoffs. And then you get to the Texans. CJ Stroud played very well. Very, very well. You know, some people say that sophomore slumps. I don't see that would happen with him, in my opinion. And D'Amico Ryans there, always been a big D'Amico guy, even coming out of Alabama. I love D'Amico Ryans. The additions that they did on defense will kind of scare me with our offensive line issues. Training for Stephon Diggs was kind of like really a surprise there. If we're being honest, we brought back Dalton Schultz, all that. So this team, I think this team will be back in the playoffs again. Can they take that lead?
Yeah, I can see that.
And then for us, there's been odds and stuff, odd breakers saying that we won't make the playoffs. They're mocking us like top 5, in mock drafts and stuff like that. But it's like, okay, look here. Got D Hop that had 1,000 yards with this team last year. Tyler J is pretty damn good. Bernard Pollard, very good running back. Zion Calvin Ridley. By only weakest got the tight ends, and hopefully Chig and Josh Wall take a step. The offensive line being worked, as well. Only thing about the right side, Dylan, who can come out the right side, Dylan Reynolds, Jalen Duncan, Sadiq Charles, whoever. I just think, some of these teams some of these folks are selling the Titans short after the moves they made, with new offensive staff, you come in a new mindset, Tyler Boyd also in the fold. If you get some of that Traylon Burks, that's extra butter and gravy, but I'm not expecting too much. So I just thinking the Titans are be back in the playoff team. I'm going to put that claim right now. I was just thinking, like, we need too many moves not to be in a damn top 5 in the draft again. I don't see it happening. Only reason why, if season fall like that, really, if Will Levis didn't play or he gets hurt, and then you got Randolph and Malik Willis and sticking up the joint. But I was thinking, with Ridley, who has missed some time in football and only played like last season, he still got some juice to him. Hopkins still got some juice to him. I was thinking, yeah, we kind of went down a little bit, but look at the moves we made. And I think we'll be right back up. Like I said, the Colts, all things help on Anthony Richardson. The Jags, they're Jags. I don't think they're going to be staying on top of the division like this, like some people claim. And then the Texans, that's the only team I kind of worried about. Other than that, I see us back in the playoffs. That's just me. Because it's too much other, fighting and stuff like that. The AFC North, too much fighting there. AFC East, only the Dolphins, I seen like maybe a playoff team. And out West, the Chiefs, and then possibly the Raiders. So if you're just looking around the NFL, why not the Titans?
Why not us, right?
And if Will Levis has a big year, then we're cooking.
Mm-hmm. And I think so, man. I think you guys have that. I think you guys have a legitimate chance.
I think so too. I think some of the national folks are just kind of selling this team short just because.
Yeah.
I think that's just just lazy takes right now. I know this team ain't strong all the way. I know that. I know that. I think I can admit that. I just mentioned like the linebackers. Maybe a little bit of the edge depth as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just told you about Dejounte Sweat, the right side of the offensive line. Tight ends, can they step up to the plate? Like I said, and like I said, do coaching staff as well. So, but sometimes things just happen in the NFL that you don't see coming. And when the Titans are kind of down and out and don't see them coming, boom, they're right there in your face. And you got a tough game in the playoffs. So, with the new 3 receiver set, there Will Levis and his potential. We've seen the offensive videos that the guys went down to Mexico, Hopkins, you know, Ridley, Spears, you know, throwing the ball and stuff like that. I think this team is due for a bounce back. Will Levis don't got that girl he was with during the draft no more. He's focused, you know, and stuff like that. And I think he's out to prove folks wrong.
Let's see what he does, man. But ladies and gentlemen, Davidson Cook, man. But appreciate you so much for being here today, man. That was a lot of fun, man. Glad to have you aboard. Obviously, this great team, man. Please make sure to follow him. This man, he knows his football. Oh my goodness, he knows his basketball too, man. Check him out at Fast Break IESR with D-Locked, Ontarius Lock. Of course, all throughout basketball season, man. They are hooking it back up, coming up in late September, getting you ready for this upcoming season, man. It's always spitting fire, man. Loving it. This coming year, hopefully we'll get these guys on StreamYard this year, man. Looking forward to that.
Season debut. We're gonna be on StreamYard. We're gonna save the same season debut then.
Looking forward to that, man. Of course, check him out, Spawn at Spawn4288, and obviously check out his other podcast, man. He does a really great job on this, man. The Crooks Process on Instagram. Give him a follow. Covers everything. He goes outside of sports. Has a lot of fun with that. So always great stuff, man. Always looking forward to talking with you, man. Thank you so much for being here today, Davidson. Man, I really appreciate you, brother. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate doing it. I love doing these previews with you. I greatly appreciate it.
I love having you all, man. So that's going to do it, guys, for our AFC South preview of all 4 teams. When we come back, this is my final weigh-in. I'll tell you, who I think is going to land where. Just see him, give a little speculation of at least my thoughts and all that fun stuff. My final weigh-in coming up right after this. You are listening to 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days, AFC Week, AFC South Day, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We come back, my final weigh-in right after this.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Ontarius Lock.
And we're the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
football fans. Hello. Long time no see. How'd you like it? Was it another good one? Did you enjoy the show? Hopefully you did, y'all. That was a lot of fun, man. Big shout out and hats off and thank you to all of my guests today, man. They were awesome. Mr. Davison Crooks, Justin Lahr coming back. How you like that? A little blast from the past there on IE Sports Radio, right? Talked to, of course, Corey Pujols and our new dude, man, Trevor Auer. Dude is awesome, man. So I'm so happy that I got to interview all these great people today. It has been a fun show, guys. We are 12 teams in. Oh, my goodness. 12 teams in. 2, 3 and out, 8 divisions in 8 days. And we are, oh my gosh, we are 1 day away from finishing off the entire conference and then off to the NFC next week. I'm telling you, time flies. It's crazy. Like how much goes into this? It's insane. But trust me, it's a lot of fun. And for you guys, hey man, I will always do this. So, all right, let's get to it. Let me go ahead and change up my color here real quick to that AFC red and jump on over into my final weigh-in of the AFC South. Okay, once again, it's my opinions, but this one is not. Look, the AFC West on Monday was pretty straightforward. Okay. Chiefs and then everybody else fighting. Okay. Yesterday's the AFC East was very complex. Okay. You have the Patriots that you're probably for sure going to be at the bottom, and then 3 fighting for the crown, right? Okay. Then you get into this division where it's like, okay, it's literally everybody fighting for it. Okay. But the thing is there's one team that I just kind of see at the bottom, regardless. And maybe I should just say all 4 teams now really quick. Okay. Or maybe I should just build it up. So, okay, let me go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and start from the bottom. Okay. So we can move on top. So I'll go ahead and change my colors, if you will, of course, to the color theme of the team. But all right, guys. So as you can see, I'm going blue here. Okay, the Indianapolis Colts. Don't get mad, Colts fans. Okay, we're not sure. We're not sure yet. We don't know what's gonna happen. You heard Justin Lahr earlier. AR is a very strong, very good fit. Okay, for the Colts, but is he going to be ready? Are the Colts going to have they just got the gelling thing, man. He was only a few games in before the offense even got a chance to gel. There were bursts, okay? There were some great sparks there, but we're yet to see it. And right now, that defense took a hit, man. No more Leonard. I mean, this defense just isn't the defense isn't what it should be. Okay, and honestly, I think even 9-8 could be a little high. That's if Richardson is super good. Okay, and that's, I think maybe they can win 10 games, and that could be a toss up to get into like maybe 3rd and 2nd place, depending. Okay, but let's be positive and say that he could be. This could be a full year for him. Okay, cool. Regardless, the defense still needs a lot of help, guys. And if you guys remember the Colts of 2007, okay, 2006, 2007 with Peyton Manning, of course. Guys, Marvin Harrison, of course. Those offenses were built to outscore everybody. Okay, well, that offense was built to outscore everyone. The defense, even though there were some bangers on there, all right, Dwight Freeney, all right, Robert Mathis, all right, Bob Sanders, but the defense, they were good, but really they just kind of kept them in the game more than anything. If anything, it was that high-powered offense that gets outscored everyone, and that is truly what that team was all about. Now, for this team, the defense, they're back to not being that great. I mean, realistically, this defense isn't nowhere near as good as that defense from 07, or 06, 07. So, I mean, I could even see the Colts losing more games. It's just the fact that we got to see it, right? We have to see this team. We got to see the Colts have some cohesiveness. So for right now, I'll put them in the basement. I think probably maybe 7-10, maybe 8-9 is more realistic. Could they lose more than 7 games? Yeah, especially if Richardson is not healthy and not if he gets injured again. We pray to God, God forbid that happens. But I'm just saying, this is a good range for me. I feel like this is a good range where they could be, but there's plenty of time. I mean, they keep on building this team; they will be much better. So, okay. So next up, I'm gonna go ahead and change my shade of blue. I know, here we go. Everybody's gonna get angry again. But Titans. Okay, why do I have them third, but going maybe as high as 10-7? I really think they could possibly even be an 11-win team this year. But right now, look, they're undergoing a new regime, man. Vrabel's out. They got all kinds of new things to deal with. All right. Lots of player switching. The draft is pretty good. You heard Davidson and I just talking about him right now. The draft is pretty dang good. So I think the Titans are as good as they want to be, honestly. I mean, the Titans a couple of years ago, it could be said that they were the worst first seed ever, because they looked horrible. They got destroyed they lost in the wild card. And the Titans have just taken their lashings, man. And I like the Titans. I love their colors. I love their color scheme. I think the Titans are a pretty good team. I heard lots of positive things about their stadium. Okay, Nissan Stadium, if that's still what it's called. But I think this is a good team. They have all kinds of good, strong, put together pieces. But if you look at them as a whole, I just don't know if they're going to be good enough to win 11, 12, 13 games. I think 10 is a good wheelhouse, 10, 11 maybe. But I really think this range right here is a lot more realistic. If they go 8-9, it's because obviously they're growing pains. I mean, here we go. It's another system, another thing to learn, brand new. So really, it's gonna be up to the Titans. This entire thing is gonna be Titans. If the Titans win the division again, it's guess what? Joke's on all of us, especially me, for putting them in third, possibly second, because I feel that they're good. But once again, I gotta see it. Show me. So okay, next up, guys, let's go ahead and change it up yet again. And all right, well, if you guessed I was gonna go with this color, well, here we go. Let me go ahead and see if I can get the closest I can get to them right now. But all right, guys. So yes, second, of course, the Jags. Okay, the Jaguars, and it's kind of funny. Don't you see the pattern? I have the Colts at their floor, okay, even lower probably 7-10, maybe even 6 wins this year. The Titans, their floor is 8, maybe even 7 if they don't get it together, and the Jaguars too. I have them also like with a floor of like 8 or maybe even 7 wins. The Jaguars are another team where they're as good as they want to be. That's it. That is it. There's nothing else to be said about this team. Let me see if I can get a little closer to that color. There we go. Okay. But yeah, guys, they're as good as they want to be. That's it. This team is going to be. They have Lawrence. They have lots of pieces. There is a very good chance this team could be 11-6 or break out of that and go higher. Okay, but it all depends as well as good as this team plays. The Jaguars are the weirdest team. I'm telling you, you have no idea, right? You have no idea who you're going to get. That's going to really go hard and make a difference in this team. You have no idea how well they're going to play. You have no idea if the defense is just going to give gifts like Santa Claus or Oprah or whatever you want to say to everybody. You really don't know much about this team. They are such a wild card. This is one of the oddest teams in the NFL because they have everything they need to be good, but sometimes they're just horrible. And then sometimes you think to yourself, okay, this team, it needs another rebuild or something. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. I'm telling you, they look so complete, but they're not. They are an odd team. Now, you heard Corey earlier. I mean, there's so much to be excited about because once again, we could get that good Jaguars team this year. Okay, we could. But if they are that team that just looks middle of the road again, then they're going to be right here in the middle of the road, and it's not going to be 11 wins. It's probably going to be somewhere right around here, 7, 8, 9 wins the best. I do not see them losing more than 7 games. If they do, then they're just going backwards. I don't have them down there in Colts territory right now. And Titans, I mean, like I said, the Titans and the Jaguars are the weirdest. I think those two are my oddest teams in the NFL because once again, we need to see it. Okay. And the only reason why I have the Jaguars ahead of the Titans is because if Vrabel's still there and they were still at this would be even tougher for me to pick a second. It might even be Jaguars third, Titans second. It all depends. Okay. But it's just because they have brand new everything in Tennessee to where I think they'll be able to eke out the Colts. Maybe not. Maybe those growing pains will be that bad, or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll be pretty damn good and fight for the division. But once again, Jaguars and Titans, it's a toss-up, and that's really it. All right, well, it's obvious right now. We can go ahead and change it to that darker blue, and here it is, guys, the Texans. Yes, I can totally see them winning 13 games. Last year, DeMeco Ryans, I mean, they took this team by storm. I mean, the NFL by storm. Okay, you see how good. Okay, you see how good this team can be, and I like the most right now that let's see what CJ Stroud can do. Let's see. Obviously, you heard Corey earlier with some harsh words for him, but I like him. He's a good young man. You know, he's into the Lord. So am I. I love him. I think he's very, 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 very professional. He carries himself very well. And honestly, I think this team has all the pieces they need right now to win the division for damn sure. Now, playoffs are a different story. All right, this is just a division. The Texans, and you heard earlier too. I mean, from Trevor, that it's the Ravens, man. For some reason, this is just the Ravens. And honestly, will this be the year? Just like the Titans, just like the Jaguars, even the Colts, man. This whole division, it is up to these teams. I mean, obviously, it's the entire NFL. It's up to them, right? But I don't know. These are just the four of the oddest teams in the NFL, and they just happen to all be in the same conference. I'm sorry, in the same division. Obviously, the same conference, but the same division. Now, are there teams like this over there in the NFC? You better believe it. But this is going to be fun. The AFC South is going to be must-watch TV, okay? Because when you look at the Texans, you see a team that just went off last year and played extremely well. But if they slip up even just a little bit, okay, unfortunately, injuries, anything like that can happen. The Jaguars or the Titans can come up easy and just overtake these guys, okay? The Jaguars are definitely closer, okay, than the Titans, but the Titans gel early and make it happen. Oh my gosh, then this is going to be a really crazy division to watch. And watch the Colts of all teams be the team that gels super crazy quick. Richardson comes out of nowhere, takes this entire division by storm, and they win this thing. I mean, it can go seriously. This is a crapshoot. Like, you just roll the dice and see what happens. I mean, this is exactly what this division is. To me, just looking, this is all if everyone stays healthy and everything like that. I see these teams look like this. But the Texans, I do personally feel they can win 13, maybe even 14 games if they play like they did last year and polish things up. I have their floor at 10-7 because if they aren't that good, I still think they're going to be good enough to be a double-digit team, double-digit win team. If they, injuries, unfortunately, or whatever, then they can go 9 and 8 and 7 and go in reverse. And like I said, this whole division comes up to a crapshoot, but it is a very fun division. I don't know about you guys, man, but I am looking forward to this one. This is let's get back to our red. I mean, it's kind of our AFC red. The Texans are red too. But the AFC South is going to be a lot of fun, guys. I am really looking forward to this one. It was a fun show. I had 4 fun interviews. I mean, it's been great. And that's it, guys. We are 12 teams in to 3 and out, 8 divisions in 8 days. My goodness, AFC week has 1 more day left. AFC North tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun. But yep, and then next week, after tomorrow, we'll be 16 teams in, and we'll have 16 to go. We'll finish up next week into the Hall of Fame game. Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, you guys, let's take. Oh, I got some comments here in the chat room. Yep, there we go. There's some of that. I'm glad. Thank you guys for putting putting your divisions in here or your predictions. So Terrence says here, yeah, Texans, Jaguars, Colts, Titans. Yeah, once again, it's crapshoot, right? It'll be a log jam with nearly the same record. Yeah, it's pretty much it, right? Or 2 to 4 will be a log jam. I think it all might be a log jam, depending on the Texans. I mean, hopefully everybody can stay healthy, but we'll see. Davison Crooks, once again, thank you for being on the show. Good services here. Texans, Titans, Jags, Colts. I mean, and there you go. See, we flip-flop 2 and 3. I think it's just because the Colts, once again, it's just we don't know yet who they truly are. Having Spears as RB1 will be a good thing, and as we get to shine, without a doubt. And big ups to our boy, man, Alden K, host of our Arizona show. What's up, man? What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? So there you guys go. That is it. And, well, without further ado, guys, it's time to cue that music because we're out of here. All right, guys, that's going to do it, man. I'll get some more comments here as we're leaving. Titans are sneaky, in my opinion. It depends on Will Levis exactly, and we'll see how they do. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it, man. We are going to just get on out of here today, all right? That was not like it was 3 hours and 20 minutes. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed bringing it to you, man. That was a lot of fun. And let's make sure we do it again tomorrow, all right? Whew, it's going to be fun. We are getting on in. We are finished now with the AFC South. I'm moving on into the AFC North tomorrow. We got some good ones, man. I mean, they've all been good ones. But tomorrow, oh, man. We got Ralph Calise with the Steelers, Mike Pat with his Ravens. We have Jen B with her Browns. And, hey, we even have Christopher Lehman of the Extra Mile with his Bengals, man. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be talking all about the AFC North tomorrow. And there you go. So, you guys, put God first. God is above all. Please enjoy yourself. Have a great rest of your day, you guys. Make sure you check out us everywhere. IE Sports Radio. X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Show some love. Give us a follow there. Check us out everywhere down here. Apple Podcasts, Twitter, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You get the picture. All these places down here on the bottom. Show us some love. These are all the recordings, so this will also be on the recording later on. You go and upload it. Make sure to check out iesportsradio.com. Daily updated website. Check out all of everything there. Our blog, our fans of the month, our get things going again. Our Hall of Fame, iSports Radio Hall of Fame. Pick you some gear up. Grab you some stuff at our shop. Check out our custom pages. Obviously, they are really, really, really cool. Check us out, find out some more about us and all that fun stuff. Give us a follow at 3 and Out IESR, 3 and Out, all spelled out IESR. You can follow me or Larry at the end of the PHE_LB53. And please make sure to check out our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Biscuit Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other plan, delicious beef jerky. Head over to Instagram, give them a follow. Head over to planetjerky.net. Get your order in, go back to Instagram, let them know that you heard this commercial, and that you ordered from them, and buy supplies basket, a free bag of jerky. Check out my beautiful wife for awesome wax deals, baby showers, graduations, weddings, wedding invitations, all these things, sending away to your friend. Make sure you grab yourself some wax deals. Check her out, okay? At @SealTheDeal_wax deals on Instagram and on Facebook. Check her out, iceweather.com/SealTheDeal wax seals. You pick your color, you pick her color she draws on, and all that good stuff. All right, $150 a piece. Show us some love, and that'll do it, you guys. That is gonna do it for the AFC South. 12 teams down, 4 to go. I will see y'all tomorrow. Until then, take care, and as always, God bless.